You wouldn't believe what happened at the General Hospital just past midnight. Nurse Nia was barely holding on to her consciousness at the reception desk when the automatic doors burst open, slamming against the wall. A young woman stumbled in, her face twisted in agony and terror, clutching her stomach like it was about to split open. Nia's heart raced as she leaped to her feet, instinct kicking in. "Please," the young woman gasped, her voice barely a whisper as she leaned against the wall for support. "Help me. Miss, are you all right?" Nia rushed to her side, panic bubbling up inside her. "What happened?" "I can't explain it," the woman gasped, her eyes wide with fear. "You need to get the doctor. It's better seen than explained." Nia exchanged a frantic glance with a fellow nurse who had hurried over after hearing the commotion. Without wasting another second, she picked up the phone, her hands trembling as she dialed Dr. Simone, the doctor on call. Dr. Simone was in her office, her focus on the patient files before her. The calm of her environment shattered when she received Nia's urgent call. Something in Nia's voice sent a jolt of adrenaline through her veins. A patient was in distress and needed immediate attention. "I'll be right there," Dr. Simone said, snatching her stethoscope and slipping it around her neck, her mind racing with possibilities. Moments later, Dr. Simone entered the lobby and her heart sank at the sight before her. The young woman was hunched over in a chair, tears streaming down her face, the pallor of her skin stark against the dark wood of the chair. "Hello, I'm Dr. Simone," she said softly, approaching the young woman. "Can you tell me what happened?" The woman looked up, her expression a blend of desperation and fear. "I can't explain it," she said, her voice trembling. "You just need to see it first." Nia rushed to help the young woman stand, leading her toward the examination room. "We're going to help you," Nia assured, though uncertainty gnawed at her. Inside the room, Dr. Simone gently helped the woman lie down on the examination table. The young woman's hands trembled violently as they gripped the edge of the table, knuckles turning white with tension. "Take a deep breath," Dr. Simone said soothingly. "What's your name?" "Angela," the woman said, her voice barely a whisper. "All right, Angela," Dr. Simone nodded, trying to ease her anxiety. "I'm going to do a quick examination. Can you tell me where it hurts?" Angela hesitated, her gaze dropping. It's down there," she mumbled, her face reddening with embarrassment. "Please just look." Dr. Simone's expression remained calm, though a knot of unease formed in her stomach as she prepared for the examination. As Angela opened her legs, Dr. Simone recoiled in horror. "Oh my God," she breathed, the words catching in her throat. What lay before her was a grotesque sight, a writhing mass of tiny white maggots infesting Angela's most sensitive area. A chill crept down Dr. Simone's spine as she fought to maintain her composure. Angela's face contorted in agony, her eyes pleading. "Please, doctor. Help me. I don't know what's happening. I don't want to die." Dr. Simone inhaled deeply, forcing herself to focus. She had encountered countless infections and medical emergencies, but this was beyond anything she had ever witnessed. "Angela, I will do everything I can to help you, but you need to be strong." Angela nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks as Dr. Simone worked to stabilize her. She administered an injection to ease the pain, her mind racing with questions that had no immediate answers. Once the worst was over, Dr. Simone sat across from Angela, the gravity of the situation settling in. "This is a very unusual condition," she began carefully. "I've cleaned the area and given you something for the pain, but I need to know more about your medical history. When did you first notice anything unusual?" Angela wiped her tears away, trying to gather her thoughts. "It started about 5 days ago. I noticed a strange smell and felt uncomfortable. I tried cleaning myself, but it just got worse. The maggots kept increasing." Dr. Simone listened intently, noting every detail. "Did you change anything recently? New medications? Different foods?" Angela shook her head. No, nothing. I stay in a hostel but have my own room. I'm very particular about my hygiene. Dr. Simone hesitated, then asked, "Are you sexually active?" Angela paused, a blush creeping across her cheeks before she nodded. "Yes, with my boyfriend, Williams. We were together about a week ago." Dr. Simone's instincts told her that Angela's condition might be connected to that encounter. "Have you noticed anything unusual about him?" Angela's face fell. "He's changed. He used to be kind and supportive, but now, he spends time with different people. Wealthy friends. He acts strangely." Dr. Simone's frown deepened. "Did he mention wanting more from life?" Angela nodded slowly. "He always talks about leaving poverty behind. But he never acted on it. He just wants to belong." Dr. Simone was unsettled, sensing there was more to the story. "I want to help you, but I need as much information as possible about your relationship with Williams. Have there been any changes?" Angela looked down, a tear escaping down her cheek. "We met last year. Both struggling, poor, but with dreams. For a long time, I thought he understood me. But everything changed 3 months ago. He started spending time with new friends, something about them didn't feel right." "Can you describe that night?" Dr. Simone pressed gently. Angela's voice dropped to a whisper. "He came home late, acting strange. His eyes were cold, distant. He said he was tired of waiting for a better life. He said he'd do whatever it took to escape." "What did he mean?" Dr. Simone asked, her heart racing. "I don't know. He was vague, but I could tell he was serious. I told him to be careful. Not everything that glitters is gold." Dr. Simone contemplated Angela's words. "I think it's possible that Williams has become involved in something dangerous. Something that has affected you." Angela looked alarmed. "What do you mean?" "I think we should try to contact him," Dr. Simone said, determination hardening her resolve. "I want you to call him and act like everything is fine. Let's see if he reveals anything." Angela's face drained of color. "You want me to confront him?" "Not directly. Just talk to him. If he pretends everything is okay, we can see how he reacts. If he gets angry, that might give us insight." Angela hesitated, then nodded. "I'll try." Dr. Simone handed her a small recorder. "Keep it close. This could be crucial." As Angela held the phone, dread filled her. After several rings, Williams's voice came through the line, casual and unbothered. "Angela, what's up?" "Hi, Williams. I haven't been feeling well lately," she forced herself to say, her heart pounding. "What do you mean?" he asked, his tone cool. "I've been experiencing some strange things. I thought maybe you could help." There was a pause, and then he laughed, a hollow sound. "If you're sick, just rest." Angela pressed on. "This started after we were together last week. I thought maybe you'd know something." "Angela," he interrupted sharply. "You're asking too many questions." Her heart sank. The indifference in his voice stung. "If there's anything you're not telling me, please, I need to know." He sighed, his tone icy. "Fine. I was tired of living like a nobody. I wanted more. You were just in the right place at the right time." Angela's breath caught in her throat. "What did you do to me?" "Nothing personal, Angela. You were just my sacrifice," he said, the coldness chilling her to the bone. Dr. Simone, who had been listening, felt a wave of revulsion. She nodded at Angela, signaling her to end the call. Angela dropped the phone, shaken, her world crumbling. Dr. Simone turned to her, urgency in her voice. "I believe what you're experiencing is beyond physical illness. We need to take action." As the weight of Angela's affliction settled like a thick fog, Dr. Simone knew they had to act quickly. The examination room was suffocating, heavy with the scent of antiseptic and fear. Angela sat on the table, her face pale and drawn, trying to process Williams's call. The truth crashed over her like a tidal wave, pulling her deeper into despair. She had been a pawn in a game she didn't understand, and now the stakes were painfully high. Dr. Simone paced the small room, her mind racing. We need to report this. This isn't just a medical emergency, it's a potential crime. If Williams is involved in something dangerous, we need to alert the authorities. Angela's eyes widened, panic flickering across her features. What if he finds out? He'll come after me. I can't go back to the hostel. Dr. Simone paused, her expression softening. I understand you're scared, but staying silent puts you at greater risk. We have to protect you, Angela. There are shelters and safe houses we can contact. Tears spilled down Angela's cheeks, the weight of her situation crashing down on her. I just wanted to escape the life I had. I thought he could help me. Dr. Simone's heart ached for her. You deserve safety and respect. We'll find a way to make sure you're protected. After a moment of silence, Angela took a deep breath. Okay. What do we need to do? First, let's clean you up and ensure you're stable, Dr. Simone said, stepping into a nurse's role. She set to work, her hands steady as she cleaned Angela and applied ointments to the affected area, careful to minimize discomfort. While Dr. Simone worked, she talked. Tell me about your life before you met Williams. What made you move to the hostel? Angela hesitated, her thoughts swirling like leaves caught in a storm. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. My parents struggled. I wanted to find a way out. I thought moving to the city would give me a fresh start. I worked odd jobs, saved every penny. Then I met him. Dr. Simone nodded, encouraging her to continue. What did you like about him? He made me feel like I was seen, like I mattered. He understood my struggles. We had dreams together, plans to build a better life. But as time went on, he changed. Angela's voice cracked, pain seeping through her words. People can change, Dr. Simone said softly. Sometimes they lose their way. What do you think caused his change? Angela looked away, her gaze unfocused. He started hanging out with a different crowd. They seemed powerful, confident. I think he got swept up in the idea of success, money, status. I warned him, but he wouldn't listen. Dr. Simone finished her task and took a seat across from Angela, her tone turning serious. Angela, what you're facing is dangerous. It's not just about the infestation, it's about what's happening in your life. We need to gather evidence against Williams, but we have to do it safely. I don't know how, Angela whispered, her voice breaking. Dr. Simone reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. You're not alone. We'll figure this out together. As Angela's breath steadied, the door swung open, and Nia re-entered the room, her expression a mix of concern and determination. I just spoke with the on-call security. They're aware of the situation and are prepared to help if we need to take further action. Good, Dr. Simone said, glancing back at Angela. We're going to need their support, especially if things escalate. Do you think he'll come after me? Angela asked, fear lacing her voice. Nia nodded, her gaze firm. We'll ensure you have protection. Right now, we need to focus on your health and gather as much information as we can. Dr. Simone turned to Nia. Let's get a full report of what we've discovered. I want to contact the authorities and initiate a report of suspected abuse. Nia's brow furrowed. Do we have enough evidence to make a report? Dr. Simone took a deep breath. We have Angela's account and the physical evidence. We can present it as a potential health risk linked to criminal activity. It's a start. Angela watched them, her heart pounding as the gravity of their decision settled in. What if he finds out? What if he tries to hurt me? We'll take precautions, Dr. Simone reassured her. We'll get you to a safe place, away from him. You deserve to be safe. Nia stepped closer, her expression softening. You're not alone in this, Angela. We're going to support you every step of the way. Thank you, Angela whispered, her voice breaking. I didn't know who else to turn to. Dr. Simone turned back to her, determination shining in her eyes. You made the right choice by coming here. Now, let's get you the help you need. As they began discussing the next steps, Angela felt a flicker of hope amidst her fear. It was a small flame, but it was enough to guide her through the darkness. The following day dawned gray and overcast, the clouds heavy with the promise of rain. As Angela prepared to leave the hospital, she felt a swirl of emotions, fear, uncertainty, but also a growing sense of resolve. She had faced her worst nightmare, and now she was determined to reclaim her life. Dr. Simone stood by the door, ready to escort Angela to a safe house, a secure location where she could begin to heal. Nia had gone ahead to prepare the transition, and the plan was coming together. Are you ready? Dr. Simone asked gently, noting the flicker of anxiety in Angela's eyes. I think so, Angela replied, her voice barely above a whisper. I just want to be safe. Dr. Simone nodded. We'll do everything we can to ensure that. As they stepped into the hospital corridor, Angela felt the weight of her choices pressing down on her. She had trusted Williams, and now that trust lay in tatters. They walked together, each step echoing the journey she had taken from victim to survivor. Just as they reached the exit, a figure emerged from the shadows, blocking their path. Angela froze, her heart racing as she recognized Williams, his expression a mix of anger and desperation. Angela, he shouted, his voice sharp enough to cut through the tension. What are you doing? You shouldn't be here. Get away from her. Dr. Simone stepped forward, instinctively shielding Angela behind her. You need to leave. Williams laughed, but it was a hollow sound, devoid of warmth. You think you can just walk away? I'm not done with you yet. Leave her alone, Dr. Simone said firmly. We're calling security. Go ahead, he sneered, stepping closer, his eyes dark with malice. But you'll regret it. You don't know what you're getting into. Angela's heart raced as she stood frozen in place, caught between the past she wanted to escape and the present that felt so threatening. What do you want from me? She managed to say, her voice shaking. I want you to come back, he pleaded, though the desperation in his tone felt insincere. I made mistakes, but I can fix them. We can still have what we wanted. Dr. Simone stepped between them, her voice unwavering. You need to leave. This isn't about what you want, it's about Angela's safety. Williams's expression hardened, and for a moment, the anger in his eyes flared dangerously. You don't know what I'm capable of, Simone. You think you're protecting her, but you have no idea what's really going on. Angela felt a chill creep up her spine as the tension in the air thickened. I'm done with you, Williams, she said, her voice steadier now. You've shown me who you really are, and I won't go back. His gaze turned icy, a shadow crossing his features. You think you can just walk away? You don't know the people I'm involved with. They don't let go easily. Dr. Simone's protective stance intensified. You need to back off now, or I will call security. Angela felt a surge of determination. I won't be scared anymore, Williams. I'm taking control of my life. Control? He laughed, though there was a hint of nervousness in his tone. You think you can just turn your back on me? You don't know what I've done to get where I am. What have you done? Angela demanded, her voice rising. What lengths have you gone to? You think this is what I wanted? You're a monster. As the words hung in the air, the atmosphere shifted. Williams's expression darkened, and he took a step closer. You should have stayed quiet, Angela. You'll regret this. But before he could approach further, Nia burst onto the scene, flanked by security personnel. Get away from her. Nia shouted, her voice fierce. Williams's bravado faltered for a moment, but then he turned on his heel, his expression contorted with anger. This isn't over, he spat before storming away, disappearing into the dimly lit corridor. Angela sagged against the wall, her breath coming in shallow gasps as the adrenaline of the confrontation slowly ebbed away. Dr. Simone placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You did well. You stood up for yourself. I was so scared, Angela admitted, tears welling in her eyes. I thought he would hurt me. He's not going to hurt you. Not now, Nia said firmly. We've got your back. As security escorted them to the exit, Angela felt a sense of safety enveloping her. For the first time, she began to believe that she could reclaim her life and escape the shadows of her past. The stage was set for Angela's journey toward healing, but the road ahead was fraught with challenges. Would she be able to confront her past and find the strength to rebuild her life? The rain began to fall as they stepped outside, a steady drizzle that mirrored Angela's mood. The world felt muted, the colors washed out under the gray sky. Dr. Simone and Nia guided her toward a waiting car, their protective presence a comforting barrier against the lingering fear of Williams's threats. As they settled into the vehicle, Nia turned to Angela, her expression serious. We're heading to a safe house, but I want you to know that it's not just a place to hide. It's a space for you to heal, to think about what you want for your future. Angela nodded, her heart racing. She felt both grateful and terrified. This was her chance to break free from the chains that had bound her, yet the uncertainty of what lay ahead loomed large in her mind. Dr. Simone glanced back at Angela, her voice soft yet firm. You're going to have support, not just from us but also from a counselor who specializes in trauma recovery. You'll have the opportunity to process everything that's happened. Will they understand? Angela asked, her voice trembling slightly. Will they really know what it's like? They will, Dr. Simone assured her. This is what they do. You'll be in a safe environment where you can express your feelings without judgment. As they drove through the rain-soaked streets, Angela stared out the window, watching the world blur by. Memories of Williams flooded her mind, the way he had smiled at her, the promises he had made, and the gradual shift from tenderness to control. She had once thought he was her savior, a ticket to a better life. Now, she saw him for what he truly was. The car pulled into a secluded driveway, flanked by tall trees that seemed to shield the house from the outside world. It was a quaint, two-story cottage, the kind that looked welcoming yet sturdy. As they stepped inside, warmth enveloped them, contrasting sharply with the chill of the rain. Inside, the space was cozy, filled with soft lighting and inviting furniture. A woman in her 30s, with warm eyes and a calming presence, greeted them at the door. Welcome, Angela. I'm Maria, and I'll be here to help you settle in. Angela managed a weak smile, grateful for the warmth in Maria's demeanor. Thank you. Let me show you around, Maria said gently, leading them through the house. The living room was filled with comfortable couches, a small library of books, and a large window that looked out onto a peaceful garden. This is a place for you to feel safe. You can come and go as you please, but we're here to support you every step of the way. As they explored, Angela felt a mix of apprehension and relief. This was a stark contrast to the chaos she had known, a sanctuary from her troubled past. Maria guided her to a small room at the end of the hallway, a private space adorned with soft colors and personal touches. This will be your room, Maria said, her voice soothing. You can decorate it however you'd like. It's important that you feel at home here. Angela stepped inside, her heart swelling at the thought of finally having a space that was hers, a place to reclaim her identity. It's perfect, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. After unpacking a few essentials, Angela returned to the common area where Dr. Simone and Nia were discussing logistics with Maria. What's next? Angela asked, her curiosity piqued. Maria turned to her, her expression serious yet compassionate. We'll help you create a safety plan. This includes getting legal support if you choose to file a report against Williams and connecting you with resources for therapy and counseling. Do I have to file a report? Angela's heart raced at the thought. The idea of confronting Williams in that way filled her with dread. It's your choice, Dr. Simone said gently. But I want you to understand that reporting can provide you with legal protection and access to support systems that can help you feel safer. Angela's mind spun as she considered the options. She was tired of feeling powerless, but the idea of facing Williams in a legal setting made her stomach turn. I don't want him to know where I am. Understandably so, Nia replied. We can take precautions to keep your information private. We want you to feel secure while navigating your next steps. As the conversation continued, Angela listened, absorbing the information and slowly beginning to feel a sense of agency. She had been a victim for too long. Now, she was ready to reclaim her narrative. Days turned into weeks as Angela settled into her new life at the safe house. She attended therapy sessions with Maria, who helped her unpack the trauma she had experienced. Each session was a step toward healing, a chance to voice the pain that had been bottled up for so long. One rainy afternoon, as they sat in the garden, Maria asked, "What are some of your dreams, Angela? What do you want for yourself?" Angela pondered the question, the sun peeking through the clouds as she spoke. I want to go back to school. I want to finish my education and maybe even help others who've gone through similar experiences. That's a beautiful dream, Maria said, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. You have a chance to create a life that reflects your true self, away from the shadows of the past. As the days passed, Angela felt herself transforming. She was no longer just a victim of circumstance, she was a survivor. With each therapy session, she uncovered pieces of her identity that had been buried under layers of fear and shame. She was learning to trust herself again, to believe in her strength. But even as she embraced her new life, the specter of Williams lingered in her mind. The threat he posed was ever present, a dark cloud that cast a shadow over her newfound hope. She knew she had to confront her past, but how could she do it without fear gripping her heart? The leaves were turning, and autumn painted the garden in hues of orange and gold. Angela stood by the window in her room, watching the gentle sway of the trees. This season had always felt like a time of change, but this year was different. She was no longer merely a passive observer of life, she was living it, actively reclaiming it. After weeks of therapy and support, Angela felt ready to take the next step. Dr. Simone had encouraged her to consider the possibility of filing a restraining order against Williams. It was a daunting prospect, but one she knew could help solidify her sense of safety. One crisp morning, Angela met with Dr. Simone and Nia to discuss the logistics. They gathered in the cozy living room, the warm light casting a soft glow around them. Are you feeling prepared to talk about this? Nia asked, her voice filled with genuine concern. Angela took a deep breath. I think so. I need to do this. I can't let him have any more power over me. Dr. Simone smiled encouragingly. You're showing tremendous strength, Angela. Filing a restraining order can be an empowering act. It's about taking back control of your life. The process involved a trip to the courthouse, where Angela would present her case. The thought of facing legal proceedings stirred a whirlwind of anxiety within her, but the idea of Williams being able to reach her without consequence fueled her determination. Let's go through what you'll need to say when you file, Nia suggested, pulling out a notepad. It's important to be clear about the threats he made and how they made you feel. As they outlined her statement, Angela recounted the chilling moments she had experienced. The memories still felt raw, but with each word, she felt a weight lifting. She was taking ownership of her story, and it no longer felt like a burden. Later that day, they made their way to the courthouse. The air was thick with anticipation, and as they approached the entrance, Angela's heart raced. Remember, you're not alone, Dr. Simone reassured her, placing a supportive hand on her shoulder. They stepped inside, the sterile environment buzzing with activity. Angela felt small in the vastness of the building, the walls echoing with the sounds of legal disputes and whispered conversations. As they approached the clerk's desk, a knot tightened in her stomach. "Take a moment," Nia advised softly. "Focus on why you're here." Angela closed her eyes briefly, envisioning the life she wanted, one free from fear. She opened her eyes, drawing strength from that vision, and approached the clerk. "Hi, I'd like to file a restraining order," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The clerk nodded and handed her the necessary forms. As Angela began to fill them out, she could feel Dr. Simone and Nia standing close, their presence a protective barrier against her rising anxiety. Once the forms were completed, they made their way to the courtroom. The judge was a stern-looking woman, her presence commanding. As Angela sat in the witness stand, she felt exposed but determined. "Tell me your story," the judge instructed, her tone encouraging yet firm. Taking a deep breath, Angela began recounting her experiences with Williams. Each word felt like a step further away from the past and closer to reclaiming her power. She spoke of the threats, the control, and the suffocating fear that had gripped her for so long. The judge listened intently, nodding as Angela described the ways Williams had manipulated and belittled her. When she finished, the silence in the courtroom felt heavy, yet liberating. Angela had said the words she had held back for too long. "Thank you for your testimony," the judge said, her voice softening. "Based on what I've heard, I am granting you a temporary restraining order against Mr. Williams. This order will ensure that he cannot come within a certain distance of you or attempt to contact you." Angela felt a rush of relief wash over her. The weight of her fears began to lift, replaced by a sense of empowerment. She was not just a victim, she was a survivor, taking steps to protect her future. As they left the courthouse, Angela felt lighter. The rain that had threatened earlier gave way to sunlight, breaking through the clouds as if celebrating her victory. "We did it," Nia said, her eyes shining with pride. "You did it." Angela smiled, the warmth of their camaraderie enveloping her. "I couldn't have done it without you both." In the days that followed, Angela focused on healing and self-discovery. She began attending support groups for survivors of domestic violence, where she found community in shared experiences. Each meeting offered a new perspective, a reminder that she was not alone in her journey. One evening, as they sat in a circle sharing their stories, Angela felt a shift within herself. She was learning not only to survive but to thrive. The shadows of her past no longer defined her, they were simply pieces of her story, and she was the author now. Maria, who facilitated the group, encouraged the participants to envision their futures. "What do you want for yourself?" she asked, her voice gentle yet powerful. Angela closed her eyes and imagined a life filled with possibilities. "I want to help others," she said, her voice steady. "I want to be a voice for those who feel silenced." As the group cheered her on, Angela felt an exhilarating surge of hope. She had the strength to shape her destiny, and with each passing day, she was closer to becoming the woman she aspired to be. However, even in the midst of her healing, the looming presence of Williams occasionally seeped back into her thoughts, reminding her that her past was not yet fully behind her. The threat remained, but she had taken a stand, and she was ready to fight back. In the quiet moments, when doubt threatened to creep in, Angela held on to the power of her decision. She was not just surviving, she was rising, ready to confront whatever came next. The weeks rolled on, and Angela's life began to take on a rhythm she hadn't thought possible after everything that had happened. The restraining order provided her with a sense of security, but it was the emotional freedom she was rediscovering that truly made a difference. Yet, shadows still lingered in the corners of her mind, whispering reminders of Williams and the fear he instilled in her. Despite the newfound stability, Angela couldn't shake the feeling that the battle wasn't over. Each time she heard footsteps echoing behind her or felt a chill in the air, her heart raced, and her body tensed. The journey of healing was a winding road, and she knew she had to confront those fears head-on. One evening, while preparing for bed, Angela glanced in the mirror. She hardly recognized the woman looking back at her, a blend of vulnerability and resilience. She'd begun to wear her hair down again, letting it flow freely past her shoulders. It felt like a small act of defiance against the control Williams had sought to impose on her. With a soft sigh, she picked up her phone and scrolled through her contacts. It was time to reach out to Maria from the support group. They had discussed the importance of finding ways to channel their experiences into something meaningful, and Angela felt a strong pull toward advocacy work. "Hey, Maria. It's Angela," she said when Maria answered. "I've been thinking a lot about what we talked about in the group. I want to get involved in outreach or education on domestic violence." "That's wonderful, Angela. There are so many ways to make an impact. We can start with local shelters or awareness events. Are you ready to take that step?" Maria's enthusiasm was infectious. "Definitely," Angela replied, her heart racing at the thought of contributing to something larger than herself. "I want to help others who've been in similar situations. Let's set up a meeting to discuss some ideas. You're going to be amazing at this," Maria encouraged. Over the next few days, Angela poured herself into research, connecting with local organizations and planning her involvement. Each step she took felt like reclaiming a piece of her identity. The fear that once held her captive began to dissipate, replaced by a sense of purpose. However, the specter of Williams loomed, reminding her that the past wasn't finished with her yet. One chilly afternoon, while volunteering at a local shelter, Angela's hands trembled as she organized pamphlets about resources for survivors. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. "Are you okay?" Nia asked, noticing Angela's unease. "Yeah, just thinking about what I've been through. It still creeps in sometimes," Angela admitted, trying to shake off the chill that settled over her. Nia nodded sympathetically. "That's completely normal. It takes time, but you're not defined by that experience. Remember the strength you've shown." As the weeks progressed, Angela's advocacy work blossomed. She spoke at community events, sharing her story and emphasizing the importance of support systems for survivors. Each time she took the stage, the initial nerves would give way to a powerful resolve. She could feel the audience connecting with her words, and the fear that had once paralyzed her transformed into a force for change. Yet, the nightmares persisted. They came in waves, sometimes vivid and terrifying, leaving Angela gasping for breath in the middle of the night. Each episode would pull her back into the darkness, where William's presence felt omnipresent, as if he could still reach her even through the barriers she had built. One evening, after a particularly intense day of speaking at a high school, Angela awoke from another nightmare, drenched in sweat. The familiar panic rose in her chest, and she reached for her phone, her fingers trembling. She needed to talk to Dr. Simone. "Angela, it's good to hear from you. How are you feeling?" Dr. Simone's voice was calm and steady. "I'm doing well with my advocacy, but I'm still struggling with the nightmares." "They're getting worse," Angela confessed, her heart aching with vulnerability. "Nightmares can be a normal part of the healing process. They often signify that your mind is still processing the trauma. Have you tried any grounding techniques before bed?" Dr. Simone suggested. "I've been working on deep breathing, but it's not always enough," Angela admitted. "Let's explore some additional strategies together. It's important to find what helps you feel safe and grounded before sleep," Dr. Simone said, offering support. With each session, Angela felt more equipped to face her fears. Dr. Simone guided her through various techniques, visualization, journaling, and even creating a nighttime routine that involved self-care rituals. Slowly, she began to reclaim her nights, transforming them from battlegrounds into havens of rest. Yet, the breakthrough came unexpectedly one afternoon at a local awareness event. Angela was surrounded by supportive friends and fellow survivors, sharing her story of resilience. After she spoke, a young woman approached her, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank you for sharing. I've been living in fear for so long, and hearing you makes me feel like there's hope," she said, her voice trembling. Angela's heart swelled. "You are not alone. There is strength in seeking help, and I'm here for you." In that moment, Angela realized that her journey was not just about her healing, it was about building a community of support. It was about helping others find their voices, just as she had found hers. As the days turned into weeks, Angela felt the shadows of her past begin to recede. With every story shared, every tear shed, and every laugh exchanged, she was weaving a tapestry of strength and hope, not just for herself but for all those who had faced similar struggles. And while the memories of Williams would always linger, they no longer had the power to dictate her life. She was no longer a victim, she was a warrior, and she was ready to face whatever came next. The months passed, each day a little brighter than the last. Angela found herself enveloped in a network of support, and her advocacy work flourished. But as much as she embraced her new life, the emotional scars still whispered reminders of the past. One sunny Saturday, she stood outside a cafe, chatting with Maria about their upcoming awareness event. Laughter flowed easily between them, the kind that lifted spirits and dissolved the remnants of fear. As Angela reached for her coffee, a familiar face caught her eye. "Isn't that?" Maria's voice trailed off, and Angela's heart dropped. It was Ethan, her old college friend, standing a few feet away. He looked different, more mature, his features sharper, but the warmth in his smile was unmistakable. "Yeah, it is," Angela said, her heart racing. The memories of their friendship came flooding back, bittersweet but full of laughter and dreams. Ethan had always been a grounding force in her life, a reminder of who she was before the chaos began. But seeing him now stirred a mixture of excitement and anxiety. As if sensing her hesitation, Maria encouraged, "You should go say hi. It's been ages." Taking a deep breath, Angela nodded and walked over, her nerves bubbling beneath the surface. "Ethan," she called softly, her voice a mix of hope and uncertainty. He turned, his eyes widening in surprise. "Angela. Wow, it's been so long." He stepped closer, enveloping her in a warm hug. It felt comforting, grounding. For a brief moment, all the fear and hurt faded away. "It really has," Angela replied, a smile breaking through. "How have you been?" "Busy with work, but good. I heard about your advocacy efforts." "It's inspiring," he said, genuine admiration shining in his eyes. "Thanks. It's been a journey, but I feel like I'm finally finding my voice," she admitted, a surge of pride filling her. Ethan's expression shifted, a hint of concern creasing his brow. "I can't imagine what you've been through, but it sounds like you're doing incredible things." Angela took a moment, weighing how much to share. "It's been tough. I went through a really dark time, but I'm in a much better place now. I'm learning to be okay with my past." Ethan nodded, the weight of understanding evident in his gaze. "I'm glad to hear that. You deserve to be happy. Can we catch up more? I'd love to hear everything." The invitation felt like a lifeline. "I'd like that," she said, her heart racing at the prospect. They exchanged numbers and promised to meet up soon. As Angela walked back to Maria, a mix of emotions swirled within her. "What just happened?" Maria asked, excitement radiating from her. "I just saw Ethan. We're going to catch up." Angela replied, her heart fluttering with the unexpected turn of events. "Fantastic. It's good to reconnect with people who knew you before everything happened. It'll help ground you," Maria encouraged. That evening, Angela found herself preparing for dinner with Ethan, a mixture of anticipation and nervousness swirling in her stomach. She chose a simple yet flattering outfit, wanting to feel comfortable but also confident. As she looked in the mirror, she whispered to herself, "You've got this." When she arrived at the cafe, Ethan was already there, his warm smile instantly calming her nerves. They settled into a cozy corner, and as they talked, the laughter flowed easily, as if no time had passed. They reminisced about college days, shared stories about mutual friends, and slowly, Angela began to open up about her journey. "I've been through some challenging experiences," she shared hesitantly, gauging his reaction. "But I've learned so much about myself through it all." Ethan listened intently, nodding in understanding. "You're incredibly brave for sharing that. It's not easy to open up about such personal things." The conversation deepened, and Angela felt a sense of safety in Ethan's presence. "I didn't know how I would handle everything, but I've found strength I didn't know I had." "That's inspiring, Angela." "I admire your courage," Ethan said, his sincerity evident. "You're doing important work, and I'm proud of you." Angela's heart swelled at his words. "Thank you. I just want to make a difference, to help others who might feel lost." As the evening wore on, they shared stories, their connection reigniting a spark of joy within Angela. For the first time in a long while, she felt seen, not just for her struggles but for the person she was becoming. After dinner, they stepped outside, the cool night air wrapping around them. "Can we do this again?" "I want to keep in touch," Ethan asked, his eyes searching hers. "Absolutely," Angela replied, her heart fluttering with hope. "I'd love that." As they exchanged goodbyes, Angela walked away feeling lighter, the weight of her past easing just a little more. Reconnecting with Ethan felt like a significant step toward healing, a reminder that she could build new connections while honoring her journey. The following days were filled with anticipation as Angela exchanged messages with Ethan, each text deepening their bond. He would ask about her advocacy work, offering encouragement and insights. They even began to plan a weekend hike, a chance to explore the beauty of nature while reconnecting. However, as the day approached, Angela's excitement was tinged with unease. The thought of being in an intimate setting again stirred old fears, whispers of insecurity creeping in. What if William's shadow loomed over her? What if she couldn't be her authentic self around him? That night, she sat on her bed, journal in hand, pouring out her thoughts. "What if I'm not enough? What if he sees my scars and turns away?" she wrote, the ink flowing as her emotions spilled onto the page. But as she reread her words, a voice inside her spoke louder. "You are enough. Your scars tell a story of resilience. Don't let fear dictate your worth." With a deep breath, Angela closed her journal, a sense of resolve washing over her. She would go on that hike, and she would embrace the moment, past fears be damned. This was her life, and she was ready to live it fully. The day of the hike arrived, bright and beautiful, the sun casting a golden hue over the landscape. As Angela and Ethan trekked along the trail, their conversation flowed effortlessly, the connection between them palpable. They shared stories, laughter, and comfortable silences, both relishing the beauty of the world around them. "Look at that view!" Ethan exclaimed, gesturing to the sprawling landscape below. "It's breathtaking." "It really is," Angela replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. In that moment, surrounded by nature and good company, she felt a sense of peace enveloping her. As they reached a quiet spot to rest, Angela took a deep breath, grounding herself in the present. "Thank you for today. It feels so good to be outside and share this with you." Ethan turned to her, his expression earnest. "I've missed this connection with you. You've grown so much, and I'm proud to be here with you." Angela's heart raced at his words, warmth spreading through her. "It's nice to feel like I can be myself around you." "You can always be yourself with me," Ethan assured her, a soft smile lighting up his face. As they sat together, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Angela felt a shift within herself. She was not just a survivor but a thriver, embracing each moment and opening her heart to new possibilities. And with Ethan by her side, she began to believe in the beauty of second chances, in the power of connection, and in the promise of healing. The days following the hike felt like a new chapter unfolding in Angela's life. Her friendship with Ethan deepened, and each encounter brought more laughter, more support, and an undeniable sense of joy. For the first time since the turmoil of her past, she felt a flutter of hope for the future, a future that could include more than just surviving, it could be about thriving. As they spent time together, Angela shared more about her advocacy work, and Ethan listened intently, asking thoughtful questions. "What inspired you to start this journey?" he asked one evening as they strolled through a vibrant street fair, the air filled with the sense of food and laughter. "I think it was the realization that my story, painful as it is, could help others. I want people to know they're not alone, that they can overcome their circumstances," she replied, her passion evident in her voice. "I want to create spaces where people can feel safe to share their experiences." Ethan nodded, admiration shining in his eyes. "That's powerful. You have such a gift for connecting with others. I can see how much you care." Angela's heart swelled at his words. "Thank you, Ethan. Your support means the world to me." As the weeks passed, their bond continued to flourish, and Angela found herself looking forward to their time together more than ever. But amidst the warmth of their connection, an underlying fear began to creep back into her mind. What if she let him in too deeply? What if she revealed the scars that still lingered, only to have him turn away? One evening, as they sat on a park bench watching the sunset, the weight of her thoughts grew heavier. The sky blazed in hues of orange and pink, mirroring the turmoil within her. "Ethan, can I ask you something?" she ventured, her voice barely above a whisper. "Of course." "What's on your mind?" he replied, turning to her with concern etched on his face. "I've really enjoyed our time together, and I feel a connection with you," she began, her heart racing. "But there's a part of me that's scared. Scared that if you see the whole me, the parts I'm still healing from, you might not want to stick around." Ethan was silent for a moment, the tension palpable. "Angela, I want you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what. I can't promise to understand everything, but I do promise to listen. Your past doesn't define you, it's part of your journey." His words struck a chord deep within her, igniting a flicker of hope. "I appreciate that, really. It's just hard to believe someone would want to stay after seeing all the pieces of me. Angela, the way you've faced your challenges is inspiring. I admire your strength. Everyone has scars, it's what makes us human. But what matters is how we grow from those experiences," he replied earnestly. Taking a deep breath, Angela felt a surge of courage. "Okay, then. I want to share something with you." As she spoke, her voice trembled, but she felt a sense of release as she opened up about the depths of her struggle, the darkness she had faced, and the journey she was still on. She talked about Williams, about the pain and confusion, and how it had taken time to find her footing again. Ethan listened attentively, his expression softening with understanding. "Thank you for sharing that with me, Angela. It's brave of you to be vulnerable," he said, his voice steady. "You're not defined by what happened to you, you're defined by how you choose to rise from it." The honesty in his words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. "I want to be honest with you, too. I'm still figuring things out," she said, her heart racing. "But I'm committed to healing, to growing. I'm here for you, every step of the way," Ethan reassured her, his hand gently covering hers. "You're not alone in this. You can lean on me." As they sat in the fading light, Angela felt a shift within her, a sense of liberation that came from sharing her truth. In that moment, surrounded by the colors of the sunset and the warmth of Ethan's presence, she realized that letting someone in didn't mean losing herself, it meant embracing the possibility of love and support. The following week, Angela invited Ethan to join her at an upcoming community event focused on mental health awareness. She wanted to show him a part of her life that had become so important to her, a space where she felt empowered and connected to others. On the day of the event, Angela felt a mix of excitement and nerves as she prepared. She wore a simple yet vibrant outfit, wanting to express her joy while still feeling comfortable. When Ethan arrived, he looked equally enthusiastic, his smile brightening her day. "Ready to make a difference?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with energy. "Absolutely," Angela replied, feeling her spirits lift. As they mingled among the crowd, Angela introduced Ethan to friends and fellow advocates, his warmth making it easy for him to connect with everyone. Together, they shared stories, laughter, and insights about the importance of mental health advocacy. Later in the afternoon, they participated in a panel discussion, where Angela had the opportunity to speak about her experiences. She shared her story with passion and authenticity, her voice steady despite the emotional weight of her words. Ethan sat in the front row, his supportive presence fueling her confidence. As she concluded her speech, the audience erupted in applause, and Angela felt a rush of fulfillment. She had poured her heart into her message, and it resonated with others. The experience was cathartic, a reminder of why she had embarked on this journey in the first place. After the event, as they walked together, Angela felt a surge of energy coursing through her. "That was incredible. Thank you for being there for me," she said, her heart racing with excitement. Ethan smiled, pride shining in his eyes. "You were amazing, Angela. You have such a gift for connecting with people. I'm so glad to be part of this journey with you." The affirmation washed over her like a warm wave. For the first time, Angela allowed herself to believe in the possibility of love. A love rooted in understanding, support, and mutual growth. That evening, as they sat in a cozy cafe, the conversation flowed effortlessly between them. Angela felt a sense of ease that she hadn't experienced in a long time. As they sipped their drinks, Ethan leaned in, his expression earnest. "Angela, I want you to know that I care about you deeply. I admire your strength, your passion, and I'm grateful to be in your life." Angela's heart soared at his words. "I care about you too, Ethan. You've helped me see that there's more to life than just surviving, there's beauty in living fully." Ethan reached across the table, taking her hand in his. "I want to be a part of that journey with you. I'm here to support you, no matter what challenges come our way." Tears pricked at Angela's eyes, overwhelmed by the beauty of their connection. In that moment, she realized that she had not only found a friend in Ethan but a partner in her journey of healing and growth. As the evening drew to a close, Angela felt a renewed sense of hope. She was learning to embrace her past, to honor her scars while opening her heart to new possibilities. With Ethan by her side, she was ready to face whatever lay ahead, believing that together, they could navigate the complexities of life, love, and healing. With each passing day, Angela felt more empowered in her journey. The support from Ethan and her community fueled her commitment to advocacy and healing. She spent her evenings organizing workshops, creating safe spaces for individuals to share their stories and struggles, while also providing tools for resilience and growth. However, as she embraced this new chapter, shadows from her past lingered, threatening to overshadow her progress. One afternoon, as she was finalizing plans for an upcoming workshop, she received a text that sent a shiver down her spine. It was from Williams. The message was brief, yet its weight was suffocating. "I miss you. Can we talk?" Angela's heart raced. A mixture of anger and anxiety surged through her. Why now? After all the pain he had caused, why did he think he could just waltz back into her life? She felt the ground shift beneath her, memories flooding back, painful reminders of what she had endured. "Angela? Are you okay?" Ethan's voice broke through her thoughts as he entered the room, noticing her pale face. Yeah, just, a message from someone I didn't expect," she stammered, trying to shake off the unease. Ethan stepped closer, concern etched on his face. "You don't have to share if you don't want to, but I'm here to listen." Taking a deep breath, Angela decided to open up. "It's Williams. He wants to talk." The name felt heavy on her tongue, a reminder of the struggle she had fought to overcome. Ethan's expression darkened. "Do you think you should?" What he did was wrong, and you don't owe him anything. I know, but part of me is scared he'll try to manipulate me again, Angela admitted, her voice trembling. What if he comes back and says all the right things, and I start to doubt myself? Ethan reached for her hand, his grip firm and reassuring. You're stronger than you think, Angela. You've already come so far. You don't have to let him back into your life if you don't want to. Tears welled in her eyes as she felt the weight of his support. It's just hard to reconcile the person I was back then with who I'm becoming now. I don't want to go back to that place. I understand. But remember, you have the power to set boundaries. You don't have to respond right away, or at all, he encouraged, his eyes steady and unwavering. After a long pause, Angela felt a flicker of determination. You're right. I can choose how to handle this. That night, she found herself lying in bed, the message replaying in her mind. She was determined not to let William's words disrupt her healing. Taking a deep breath, she typed out a response, I'm not ready to talk. Please don't contact me again. With her heart pounding, she pressed send, a wave of relief washing over her. In that moment, Angela realized she was reclaiming her power, reminding herself that she was not the same person who had once felt trapped and powerless. Over the next few days, she focused on the upcoming workshop, channeling her energy into preparation. As she poured her heart into the planning, she also leaned on Ethan for support. They spent evenings discussing the workshop, brainstorming ideas, and refining the message she wanted to share. On the day of the event, the energy in the room was electric. Attendees filled the seats, a diverse group of individuals ready to engage and share their stories. Angela stood at the front, her heart racing with excitement and nerves. She glanced at Ethan, who gave her a reassuring smile, grounding her in the moment. Welcome, everyone, she began, her voice steadying as she took in the faces before her. I'm so grateful to see you all here today. This space is for you, a place to share, to connect, and to heal together. As she spoke, Angela felt a sense of purpose wash over her. She shared her story, the struggles she had faced, and the importance of vulnerability in healing. She encouraged attendees to open up, emphasizing that sharing their truths was a powerful step towards liberation. Throughout the workshop, participants shared their experiences, creating a tapestry of strength and resilience. Angela listened intently, offering support and encouragement, her heart swelling with gratitude for the community they were building together. As the event drew to a close, Angela felt a rush of accomplishment. She had faced her fears and created a space for others to do the same. Ethan approached her, pride evident in his eyes. You were incredible, Angela. The way you connected with everyone was inspiring. Thank you, Ethan. I couldn't have done it without your support, she replied, her heart full. That evening, as they walked home together, Angela felt a newfound sense of freedom. She had not only confronted her past but had also transformed it into something beautiful, a way to uplift others who had faced similar struggles. However, as they neared her apartment, her phone buzzed again. Hesitantly, she looked down to see another message from Williams. Her heart sank as she read the words, I'm sorry. I just want to talk. Can we meet? Anxiety clawed at her, but she felt a shift within her, a strength that had been forged through her journey. Ethan, I just got another message from Williams, she said, her voice steady but edged with uncertainty. Do you want to respond? He asked, his expression serious. No, I don't think so. I don't owe him an explanation, she replied, the conviction in her voice surprising even herself. Exactly. You've come so far, and you deserve to protect your peace, Ethan affirmed, his support unwavering. As they stood outside her apartment, Angela felt a mix of emotions wash over her, fear, doubt, but also a growing sense of empowerment. Thank you for being here for me, Ethan. It means more than you know. I'm always here, Angela, he replied softly, his gaze steady. You're never alone in this. With those words, Angela felt a warmth spreading through her, a sense of security she had longed for. As she closed the door behind her, she took a moment to breathe, the shadows of her past still lingering but now softened by the light of her present. She was learning to embrace the duality of her journey, the pain and the growth, the fear and the strength. In that moment, she knew she was ready to face whatever came next, fortified by her experiences, her community, and the connection she had forged with Ethan. The road ahead would be challenging, but she had come to understand that healing was not a destination, it was a continuous journey, one she was now willing to navigate with an open heart. As the days turned into weeks, Angela felt herself settling into a new rhythm. Her workshops continued to grow in attendance, each session more powerful than the last. She had fostered a supportive community that shared stories of struggle and resilience, creating a tapestry of strength woven from their collective experiences. Yet, in the midst of this growth, William's persistent messages continued to gnaw at her peace. Despite her resolve to ignore him, each ping of her phone sent waves of anxiety coursing through her. One day, after another message arrived, "I just want to explain. Can we meet?" Angela felt an unsettling knot tighten in her stomach. "Ethan, I need to talk to you about something," she said as they met up for coffee. They settled into a cozy corner of their favorite cafe, the comforting aroma of roasted coffee beans surrounding them. "Sure, what's on your mind?" he asked, sensing her unease. "It's about Williams. He won't stop messaging me. Part of me wants to confront him, but another part is terrified of what that might bring up," she admitted, her hands trembling around her cup. Ethan leaned in closer, his expression serious. "What do you think you'd gain from meeting him? You've worked so hard to get to this point." Angela took a deep breath, her heart heavy with uncertainty. "I want to understand why he's reaching out. Maybe I can find closure or a sense of peace if I confront him directly." Ethan's brow furrowed. "But what if it only reopens old wounds? You're not obligated to give him a chance to explain himself." "I know," she replied, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. "But part of me thinks that maybe confronting him could help me reclaim my power. It's like I can't fully move on until I face him." After a long pause, Ethan nodded, though his concern was evident. "I just want to make sure you're protecting yourself. You've come so far, Angela. Don't let him undermine your strength." Feeling a mix of gratitude and apprehension, Angela mulled over his words as the conversation shifted to lighter topics. But in the back of her mind, the thought of meeting Williams loomed like a storm cloud, threatening to overshadow her progress. The following evening, after a restless night of contemplation, Angela made a decision. She sat at her desk, the soft glow of the lamp illuminating her determined expression as she typed out a response to Williams, "I'll meet you, but only in a public place, and I'm bringing someone with me." A rush of adrenaline coursed through her as she hit send, a mix of dread and empowerment filling her heart. She felt like she was taking back control, setting boundaries while still allowing herself the chance to confront her past. As the day of the meeting approached, Angela's anxiety escalated. She confided in Ethan about her decision, his support unwavering. "Just remember, you're not alone in this. I'll be there for you," he reassured her, squeezing her hand gently. On the day of the meeting, they arrived early at a bustling coffee shop, the atmosphere filled with laughter and conversation. The smell of freshly baked pastries wafted through the air, but Angela felt no appetite. Instead, she focused on the door, her heart racing with each tick of the clock. When Williams finally walked in, Angela's breath hitched in her throat. He looked different, older, the weariness of life etched into his features. The anger that once consumed her began to swirl with confusion as he approached their table. "Thanks for meeting me," he said, his voice low and hesitant. "Let's just get this over with," Angela replied, her tone sharper than intended. She glanced at Ethan, who sat beside her, his presence a steady anchor. "I'm sorry for everything I put you through," Williams began, his eyes searching hers. "I was a mess back then, and I know I hurt you deeply. I wish I could take it all back." Angela's heart raced as memories flashed before her, moments of pain, manipulation, and fear. You can't just say you're sorry and expect that to erase the damage you did, she snapped, feeling a surge of anger rise within her. You shattered my trust and made me feel small. I know, and I regret it every day. I just wanted to explain myself. I've changed, he insisted, desperation creeping into his voice. I've been working on myself, trying to be a better person. Angela scoffed, crossing her arms defensively. What does that even mean? Just because you've had some time to reflect doesn't mean you get a free pass for your past actions. You don't get to rewrite my story. Please, just listen to me, Williams pleaded, his expression softening. I've been going to therapy, and I realize how toxic I was. I'm not that person anymore. I just want a chance to show you that I've changed. Ethan shifted in his seat, his protective instincts flaring. What you did was unacceptable, and you can't expect Angela to just forget about it because you've had an epiphany. Healing doesn't work that way. Angela felt a swell of gratitude towards Ethan, his unwavering support fortifying her resolve. I appreciate your effort to change, Williams, but I can't be a part of your journey. My healing is mine to navigate, and I refuse to let you back into my life. Tension filled the air as Williams stared at her, disappointment and frustration etched on his face. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was scared and didn't know how to handle my emotions. I thought I was protecting you, he said, his voice cracking. Protecting me? You were controlling and manipulative, Angela retorted, the anger bubbling to the surface. You thought your actions were justified, but they never were. I deserve better, and I've worked hard to find my voice again. The silence that followed was thick with unspoken words, a chasm between them that could not be bridged. Williams looked away, a mixture of anger and sadness clouding his features. I just wanted a chance to make things right, he murmured, his voice barely audible. I don't owe you that chance, Angela replied firmly, feeling a sense of liberation wash over her. I'm not the same person you once knew. I've learned to value myself, and I refuse to let anyone take that away from me again. As they left the coffee shop, the weight of the encounter hung in the air, but Angela felt lighter than she had in years. She had faced her fears, confronted her past, and emerged stronger. Are you okay? Ethan asked softly, his concern palpable as they walked side by side. Yeah, I think so. It was hard, but I needed to do it, Angela replied, her heart swelling with gratitude for his presence. Thank you for being there with me. Always. You're doing amazing things, Angela. I'm proud of you, he said, a warm smile lighting up his face. In that moment, Angela realized that she was not just reclaiming her power, she was embracing her journey. Each step she took was a testament to her strength, reminder that healing was not linear but a beautiful, complicated process filled with moments of courage and vulnerability. As they walked through the vibrant streets, Angela felt a renewed sense of hope. She had faced the shadows of her past, but she was ready to step into the light, embracing the endless possibilities of her future. With the meeting with Williams behind her, Angela felt a shift within herself. The weeks that followed were a testament to her resilience. She poured her energy into her workshops, which had transformed into a sanctuary for those seeking healing and connection. The stories shared were raw and beautiful, creating a tapestry of strength and hope that enveloped them all. One afternoon, as she prepared for a new session, Angela felt an electric thrill course through her. Today, she would introduce a new exercise designed to help participants explore their visions for the future. She believed that by allowing themselves to dream, they could begin to imagine lives beyond the shadows of their pasts. As the participants filtered into the room, Angela greeted each one with a warm smile, their faces a mix of anticipation and nervousness. She started the session with a brief meditation, guiding them to close their eyes and take deep breaths, inviting them to feel the weight of their stories while also opening themselves to new possibilities. Today, I want you to envision your future. Imagine what your life looks like a year from now. What dreams are you pursuing? What does your happiness look like? She encouraged, her voice soothing as she moved through the room, observing the shifting expressions on their faces. After the meditation, Angela handed out journals and colored pens, inviting everyone to sketch their dreams. The room filled with the sound of scratching pens and quiet murmurs as participants shared their visions. One woman, a newcomer named Maya, spoke up with trembling excitement. I want to start my own bakery. I've always loved baking, but I never thought I could turn it into a career. Her eyes sparkled with hope, a contrast to the uncertainty that had previously clouded her expression. That sounds amazing, Maya. What's the first step you need to take to make that happen? Angela prompted, eager to nurture the burgeoning dreams around her. I guess I need to start taking classes and figure out a business plan, Maya replied, her confidence building as she spoke. The others encouraged her, sharing their thoughts and support, and Angela felt a sense of pride swell in her chest. As the session progressed, Angela found herself lost in the energy of the room. She listened to dreams of travel, artistic pursuits, and reconciliation with family members. Each story was a reminder of the strength that existed within them, a tapestry woven from the threads of their experiences and aspirations. After the session, as participants began to leave, Maya approached Angela with a shy smile. Thank you for today. It felt really good to share my dream out loud, she said, her voice filled with sincerity. I'm so glad. You have a gift, Maya. Keep nurturing that passion, and don't hesitate to reach out if you need support, Angela replied, feeling a warmth spread through her. As Maya walked away, Angela noticed Ethan waiting by the door, a proud smile on his face. You were incredible today. It's amazing to see how you've created such a supportive space for everyone. Thanks, Ethan. It feels like we're building something beautiful together, she said, her heart swelling with gratitude. I really believe in what we're doing here. Have you thought more about what you want for your future? He asked, a curious glint in his eyes. Angela hesitated, her heart racing. It had been easy to focus on helping others, but when it came to her own dreams, she felt a nagging uncertainty. I guess I haven't really allowed myself to dream yet. I've been so focused on healing, it's hard to think about what comes next. Ethan's expression softened. You deserve to dream too, Angela. Your journey has been incredible, and you've overcome so much. What do you want for yourself? Taking a deep breath, Angela let her thoughts swirl for a moment. I want to expand these workshops, maybe even create a retreat where people can immerse themselves in healing and creativity. I want to write a book about my journey, to inspire others who are still struggling. That sounds amazing. You have a powerful story, and sharing it could help so many people, Ethan encouraged, his enthusiasm infectious. I just need to find the courage to put it all into action, she admitted, her voice trembling with uncertainty. You've already shown so much courage, Angela. This is just another step on your path. I believe in you, he said, his eyes locking onto hers with unwavering support. Feeling a surge of gratitude, Angela realized that she had allies in this journey, people who believed in her and her dreams. Thank you, Ethan. Your belief means everything to me. As the days passed, Angela began to take small steps toward her goals. She reached out to local community centers about collaborating on workshops and started outlining her book, drawing from her experiences and the powerful stories of those she had helped. Each word she wrote felt like a piece of her healing journey falling into place, a mosaic of strength and vulnerability coming together. One evening, while reviewing her notes, Angela received an unexpected phone call from her friend Sarah, who had moved away a few years earlier. Angela. I'm coming back to town for a visit and would love to catch up. Can we meet? A rush of excitement and nostalgia washed over her. Absolutely. I'd love to see you again, Angela replied, a smile spreading across her face. When they met at a quaint cafe, the years melted away as they shared stories and laughter. It's so good to see you. I've been following your journey, and I'm so proud of everything you're doing," Sarah said, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "I've been working hard to find my way, and it feels great to be back in a positive place," Angela replied, her heart swelling with gratitude for the support of her friends. As they reminisced, Sarah asked, "Have you thought about what you want for the future?" Angela paused, considering her words carefully. "I have, actually. I want to create a space for healing and creativity, and I want to write a book to share my journey and help others." "Wow, that's incredible. You've always had such a gift for inspiring others," Sarah said, her excitement palpable. "I'd love to help however I can." The conversation flowed easily, filled with encouragement and shared dreams. Angela realized that opening up about her aspirations brought her a sense of freedom, and she felt more confident than ever. As they parted ways, Angela felt a renewed sense of hope. She was no longer defined by her past but empowered by it. With each step forward, she embraced the unknown, knowing that her journey was far from over. With a heart full of dreams and the support of her friends, Angela was ready to embrace new beginnings and the beautiful possibilities that lay ahead. With each passing day, Angela's vision for her future grew clearer and more vibrant. She felt an urgency to act on her dreams, and the support from her community fueled her determination. One sunny afternoon, she sat at her favorite cafe, laptop open and pages filled with notes, ready to start drafting her book. The coffee shop buzzed with activity, but Angela was lost in her thoughts, the smell of roasted beans and fresh pastries grounding her as she began to type. She wanted to share not just her story, but the collective narratives of everyone who had walked through her workshop doors, their fears, triumphs, and the beautiful way they had learned to embrace their pain. As she typed the first few paragraphs, a voice broke through her focus. "Is this seat taken?" Angela looked up to find a tall man with dark curly hair and bright blue eyes standing by her table. He wore a friendly smile, and there was a spark of curiosity in his expression. "No, please, have a seat," she replied, motioning to the empty chair across from her. "I'm Alex," he said, settling in. "I couldn't help but notice you typing away. What are you working on?" "I'm writing a book about my journey of healing and the stories of others I've met along the way," Angela said, surprised at how easily the words flowed. "That sounds incredible. What's your angle?" he asked, genuinely interested. "I want to highlight the power of resilience and community, how we can lift each other up through shared experiences," Angela explained, feeling a rush of excitement at the prospect of sharing her vision. "Wow, that resonates with me. I've been on my own journey of rediscovery, and I think it's amazing that you're channeling your experiences into something so meaningful," Alex said, leaning in closer, his interest palpable. The conversation flowed naturally, and they exchanged stories about their struggles and the ways they had begun to heal. Angela learned that Alex had recently moved back to the area after living abroad, seeking a fresh start after a difficult breakup. "I've been looking for ways to connect with the community again," he shared. "Maybe I could attend one of your workshops." "That would be great. They're really about creating a safe space for people to share and grow together," Angela encouraged, feeling a sense of camaraderie forming. As they talked, Angela found herself captivated not only by Alex's enthusiasm but also by his kindness. He listened intently, offering insights that felt both refreshing and grounding. They exchanged contact information, promising to keep in touch. As Angela returned to her writing, her thoughts danced around the unexpected encounter. She couldn't help but feel that Alex was a sign of the changes brewing in her life, an affirmation that she was on the right path. Days turned into weeks, and Angela's writing progressed steadily. Each workshop she led inspired her to dive deeper into her own story, and she began to intertwine the narratives of her participants into the fabric of her book. Their vulnerability illuminated the pages, turning her personal journey into a collective testament of resilience. One evening, as she prepared for another workshop, Angela received a text from Alex, "Looking forward to the workshop tomorrow. Can't wait to meet everyone." Her heart raced with anticipation. She appreciated Alex's enthusiasm, and she could sense his genuine desire to be part of something meaningful. As she arrived at the community center the next day, the energy in the room was palpable. The familiar faces of her regular participants greeted her, their excitement palpable as they gathered for another session. When Alex walked in, he scanned the room, his eyes lighting up as he spotted Angela. She waved him over, and he joined her at the front, his presence adding a new layer of energy to the group. After a brief introduction, Angela led the participants through an exercise designed to explore the themes of growth and change. As they shared their stories, Angela noticed Alex listening with intent, nodding in understanding as others spoke. When it was Alex's turn to share, he opened up about his experiences living abroad and the challenges he faced in reconnecting with himself after his breakup. I realize that sometimes, we have to lose ourselves to find a deeper version of who we are, he said, his voice steady and sincere. The room filled with an understanding silence as participants absorbed his words. Angela could see the impact his story had, drawing nods and murmurs of support from those around him. After the exercise, the group broke into smaller discussions, and Angela and Alex found themselves deep in conversation. They spoke about their dreams, the fears that held them back, and the beautiful possibility of what lay ahead. Have you thought about how you want to present your book once it's finished? Alex asked, his curiosity piqued. I've considered self-publishing, but I really want to find a way to connect with a broader audience. I think sharing these stories could help people feel less alone, Angela said, a spark igniting within her. I know a few people in publishing. Maybe I could connect you with someone who could help, he suggested, his eyes brightening with excitement. That would be incredible. Thank you so much, Angela replied, feeling a rush of gratitude. The prospect of making her dreams a reality felt closer than ever, and Alex's support made her heart swell with possibility. As the workshop wrapped up, participants lingered to chat, sharing laughs and exchanging contact information. Angela watched as Alex mingled, effortlessly connecting with others, his warmth radiating through the room. After everyone left, Angela and Alex tidied up, their laughter echoing softly in the empty space. You have a real gift for creating community, he said, admiring the vibrant energy that lingered in the air. It's a collective effort. We're all in this together, Angela replied, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. As they locked up the center, the sun began to set, casting a warm glow across the street. Would you like to grab dinner? I'd love to continue our conversation, Alex asked, a hopeful smile on his face. Yes, I'd love that, Angela replied, her heart fluttering with excitement at the thought of spending more time with him. Over dinner, they delved into deeper conversations, their connection growing stronger with each shared story. They discussed their dreams, the struggles that shaped them, and the beauty of embracing change. As they walked back to their cars, the night sky twinkled with stars, and Angela felt a newfound sense of hope blossoming within her. With Alex by her side and a vision for her future taking shape, she was ready to embrace the next chapter of her life, filled with possibilities and the promise of transformation. As the weeks rolled by, Angela's life took on a rhythm that felt both invigorating and comforting. Her workshops continued to flourish, drawing in a diverse group of individuals who were eager to share their stories. With Alex's encouragement and connections, her book began to take shape. Each day, she would wake early, pouring herself into her writing, the words flowing like water from a spring. One Saturday morning, Angela found herself seated at her kitchen table, sunlight streaming in through the window, illuminating her notes and sketches. She was revising a chapter about the power of vulnerability, a theme that resonated deeply with her and her participants. The kettle whistled, pulling her from her thoughts. She poured herself a cup of tea, savoring the warmth as she returned to her work. Just as she was about to dive back in, her phone buzzed with a message from Alex. Hey. I was thinking we should do a little book club with the workshop participants once your book is ready. What do you think? Angela's heart raced. The idea of creating a book club felt like a natural extension of what they were already building together. She quickly replied, "That sounds amazing. I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts and make it an open discussion." The prospect of sharing her work with her participants excited her, but it also made her nervous. Would they connect with her words? Would they find their stories reflected in her journey? The questions swirled in her mind, but she pushed them aside, focusing instead on the potential for growth and connection. That afternoon, she met Alex at a local park for a long walk. The leaves had begun to change, painting the landscape in hues of orange and gold. As they strolled along the winding path, Angela shared her excitement about the book club idea. "I think it could really create a sense of ownership among the participants," she said, her voice tinged with enthusiasm. "They'll have the opportunity to engage with the material in a deeper way and see how their stories weave into the narrative." "I agree," Alex replied, nodding. "Plus, it's a way to cultivate a supportive community around your work. It'll also give you invaluable feedback as you continue to refine your writing." As they walked, they discussed potential themes for the book club meetings, brainstorming ways to make each gathering interactive and meaningful. Ideas flowed freely, and with each suggestion, Angela felt more and more at ease with the thought of sharing her work. As dusk approached, they settled onto a bench overlooking a small pond, watching as ducks glided gracefully across the water. "You know, I've really enjoyed our time together," Alex said, his tone more serious now. "I feel like we're building something special here, not just with the workshops, but between us as well." Angela's heart skipped a beat at his words. She had sensed a growing connection between them, a bond that felt both electric and comforting. "I feel the same way," she admitted, her voice soft. "It's been wonderful having you by my side through this journey." They exchanged smiles, an unspoken understanding passing between them. The air around them felt charged, and in that moment, Angela realized how much Alex had come to mean to her. His presence was a source of encouragement, a reminder that she wasn't alone in her pursuit of healing and growth. As the weeks turned into a month, the excitement of the upcoming book club meeting filled Angela with anticipation. She finalized the chapters she planned to share, carefully selecting excerpts that encapsulated the essence of her journey in the stories of her participants. On the day of the first meeting, she arrived early at the community center, her heart fluttering with nervous energy. The room was decorated with colorful banners and artwork created by the workshop participants, a testament to their collective creativity and strength. When people began to arrive, Angela greeted them with enthusiasm, her nerves slowly giving way to excitement. Among the familiar faces, Alex stood out, his smile reassuring her as he walked in. "Ready for this?" he asked, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. "Ready as I'll ever be," Angela replied, taking a deep breath. The meeting kicked off with a warm welcome, and as Angela introduced the idea of the book club, she noticed a wave of enthusiasm ripple through the group. Participants shared their expectations, and Angela could see the eagerness in their eyes. As they delved into the first chapter, Angela facilitated a discussion that encouraged everyone to share their thoughts and reflections. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as stories unfolded, each person adding their unique perspective to the conversation. Angela watched, heart full, as her words sparked connections among the participants. They resonated with each other's experiences, laughter punctuating the air as they found common ground in their struggles and triumphs. It was a powerful reminder of the strength of vulnerability and the importance of community. When the meeting drew to a close, the participants lingered, sharing snacks and continuing their discussions. Angela felt a warmth spread through her as she observed the connections blossoming before her eyes. "Tonight was amazing," Alex said, stepping beside her as the room began to empty. "You created a space where everyone felt safe to share and connect. That's no small feat." "Thank you, Alex. It feels incredible to see everyone so engaged," Angela replied, her heart swelling with pride. "I couldn't have done it without your support." As they cleaned up together, Angela reflected on how far she had come. The fear and uncertainty that once clouded her journey had transformed into a sense of purpose and connection. She had forged a path that allowed her to share her story and create a community where others could do the same. With each step forward, Angela felt herself stepping further into her power. The book club was just the beginning. It was a launching pad for more profound conversations, connections, and healing. As she stood alongside Alex, she knew that together, they could inspire change, spark conversations, and make a difference in their community. The future looked bright, and Angela was ready to embrace every moment of it. As autumn deepened, the book club blossomed into a vibrant tapestry of stories and connections. Each session brought fresh insights and a renewed sense of purpose for Angela. The participants were becoming more than just workshop members, they were a community bound by shared experiences and a collective desire for healing. Angela's book, now nearing completion, felt like a living document, an anthology of voices that echoed the sentiments of the workshop. She poured her heart into every page, blending her narrative with those of her participants, creating a powerful symphony of resilience and hope. One crisp evening, after a particularly moving book club meeting, Angela invited a few of her participants to stay behind for a more informal discussion. As they gathered in a circle of mismatched chairs, the atmosphere was warm and inviting, filled with the scent of spiced tea and the soft glow of fairy lights strung across the room. "I want to hear more about your journeys," Angela said, looking around the circle. "What has resonated with you the most from the book so far?" Marie, a soft-spoken woman in her 50s, spoke up first. "For me, it's the chapter on finding strength in vulnerability. I've always thought vulnerability was a weakness, but your words made me see it differently. It's about being brave enough to show our true selves." Nodding, Angela felt her heart swell. "Yes. That's exactly it. Vulnerability is a bridge to connection, not a barrier." Jordan, a young man in his 20s, chimed in. "I found the section on confronting bias particularly impactful. It made me reflect on my own experiences and the biases I've unknowingly held. It's uncomfortable, but I think it's necessary for growth." Angela glanced at him, her eyes gleaming with pride. "Thank you for sharing that, Jordan. It takes courage to confront our biases, but it's a crucial step in understanding ourselves and others." As the discussion flowed, participants shared their thoughts on the chapters, their voices rising and falling like a gentle tide. They spoke about pain and healing, identity and growth, the common threads weaving them closer together. It was during this intimate gathering that Angela felt a shift, a deeper understanding of her role as a facilitator and storyteller. She was not just sharing her own story, she was a conduit for the collective experiences of those in the room. This realization ignited a fire within her. After the gathering, as the participants filtered out, Alex stayed behind to help Angela tidy up. "You really have a gift for bringing people together," he said, stacking chairs with a smile. "It's beautiful to witness." "Thank you, Alex. I'm just trying to create a space where everyone feels they belong," she replied, her heart full. "I never expected it would feel so rewarding." They shared a moment of quiet understanding, the bond between them deepening as they worked side by side. Angela felt a warmth in her chest, a sense of gratitude for the journey they were on together. "Have you thought about how you want to celebrate the book launch?" Alex asked, breaking the silence. Angela paused, her mind racing with possibilities. "I want it to be special. I envision a gathering, maybe a reading, followed by discussions. It should be a celebration of everyone's stories, not just mine." "I love that idea," Alex said, his eyes lighting up. "We could invite everyone from the workshops and make it a community event. It could be a platform for people to share their stories, too." "Yes!" Angela exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. "We could set up different stations for storytelling, art, and discussion. It would be a way to highlight the community's creativity." As they brainstormed, the night air turned cooler, and the stars began to twinkle outside the window. They made plans for the launch, and with each idea, Angela's heart swelled with anticipation. This event was more than a book launch, it was a celebration of resilience, a testament to the power of sharing one's truth. In the following weeks, Angela poured her energy into planning the event, fueled by the support of her participants and Alex. They created promotional materials, reached out to local media, and spread the word through social media platforms. The day of the launch arrived, and as Angela stood before a crowd of familiar faces in the community center, her heart raced with a mix of excitement and nerves. The room buzzed with energy, filled with laughter and conversations that echoed off the walls. She took a deep breath, stepping up to the podium. "Thank you all for being here today. This book represents not just my journey but the stories of everyone who has bravely shared their truth with me. Together, we are creating a narrative of resilience and connection." As she began reading selected passages from her book, Angela felt the words resonate within the room, creating ripples of understanding and empathy. The laughter, tears, and shared stories that followed transformed the event into a tapestry of human experience, weaving together the threads of their lives. In that moment, Angela realized that this was what she had been seeking all along, a community where stories could be shared, where healing could happen, and where vulnerability was embraced. It was a powerful reminder that their collective voices could spark change and foster understanding in a world that often felt divided. As the evening wound down, participants mingled, sharing their reflections and stories, each one adding to the beautiful mosaic they were creating together. Angela stood beside Alex, her heart swelling with gratitude as she took in the scene before her. "This is just the beginning," she said, glancing at him. "I can feel it." "I know," Alex replied, his eyes shining with excitement. "We've built something special here, and it's only going to grow." With a newfound sense of purpose, Angela embraced the journey ahead. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that together, they could continue to make a difference, one story at a time. The success of the launch event rippled through the community like a wave, igniting a spark of enthusiasm among the participants. Angela felt buoyed by the response to her book, but more importantly, she witnessed a profound transformation in her workshop members. They were emboldened, sharing their stories more openly, their voices gaining strength and clarity. One Saturday morning, Angela decided to organize a follow-up workshop focused on action, transforming the stories shared into tangible initiatives. She wanted to encourage participants to think about how they could extend the lessons learned from their personal narratives into the wider community. As the group gathered in the cozy space of the community center, Angela looked around at the familiar faces, each one representing a unique journey. "Today, I want us to explore how we can turn our stories into action," she began, her voice steady and passionate. "We've shared so much about our struggles and triumphs, and now it's time to consider how we can inspire change together." The room buzzed with excitement as Angela led them through a series of brainstorming exercises. They divided into small groups, each tasked with identifying social issues they were passionate about and discussing ways to address them through community initiatives. Angela wandered from group to group, listening to the fervent discussions and watching ideas take root. One group focused on organizing a community cleanup to address environmental concerns, while another proposed creating a mentorship program for at-risk youth, drawing from their own experiences of overcoming adversity. When she reached Marie's group, she was struck by the intensity of their conversation. "I've been thinking a lot about mental health," Marie shared, her voice filled with conviction. "I want to create a support network for people struggling with anxiety and depression. We can use our stories to break the stigma surrounding mental health issues." Angela felt her heart swell with pride at Marie's determination. "That's a powerful idea, Marie. How do you envision it working?" "I want to host regular meetups where people can come together to share their experiences and support each other. We could also invite mental health professionals to speak and provide resources," Marie explained, her eyes alight with purpose. As the workshop continued, ideas flourished. Angela watched as participants moved from contemplation to action, their initial hesitations dissolving in the face of shared passion. It was a profound reminder of the power of community and the strength that came from collective effort. After the session, Angela gathered everyone for a final discussion. I'm in awe of the ideas you've all shared today. I want to support you in bringing these initiatives to life. Let's set up a plan to meet regularly and keep the momentum going. The room erupted in applause, and Angela felt a warmth spread through her chest. This was what she had hoped for, a community empowered to take their stories and use them to inspire change. Over the next few weeks, the participants began to transform their ideas into reality. They organized planning meetings, reached out to local businesses for support, and even garnered media attention for their initiatives. Each step forward felt like a victory, a testament to the strength they found in each other. Angela's days became filled with meetings, brainstorming sessions, and planning for the mental health support network that Marie spearheaded. They collaborated with local mental health organizations to create a series of workshops focused on coping strategies, self-care, and community building. One evening, while preparing for a workshop on mindfulness, Angela received a call from Jordan. "Hey, Angela. We just finished a planning meeting for the mentorship program, and we're so excited. We have a couple of local schools interested in collaborating with us." Angela's heart raced with excitement. "That's incredible, Jordan. What's your next step?" "We're setting up an informational session for potential mentors and ments next week." "It's all coming together," he replied, his enthusiasm infectious. As she hung up, Angela felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. The seeds of change they had planted were sprouting, each initiative a testament to the courage and resilience of the participants. But amidst the whirlwind of activity, Angela also felt a familiar undercurrent of doubt creeping in. Was she doing enough? Was she truly equipped to guide her participants through this journey? The weight of responsibility pressed upon her, and she found herself wondering if she was capable of leading such meaningful initiatives. That night, she confided in Alex. They sat on the steps of the community center, the soft glow of streetlights casting a warm hue around them. "I'm feeling overwhelmed, Alex. I want to support everyone, but sometimes I wonder if I'm enough," she admitted, her voice laced with vulnerability. Alex looked at her, his expression unwavering. "Angela, you've created a space for these stories to emerge. You're not alone in this, you have a whole community rallying behind you. Trust in their strength, and trust in yourself. You're more than capable." Angela felt a rush of gratitude at his words. They sat in comfortable silence, the sounds of laughter and conversation drifting from inside the center. The warmth of community enveloped her, and she began to see the bigger picture again. In the following days, the workshops flourished, and the initiatives began to take shape. The community cleanup was scheduled, the mentorship program gained traction, and Marie's support network was on the verge of launching. As Angela immersed herself in this journey, she began to understand that leadership was not about having all the answers, it was about fostering an environment where others could thrive. It was about embracing vulnerability, not as a weakness but as a source of strength. And so, with renewed energy, Angela committed to this path of community empowerment, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The journey was just beginning, and together, they would cultivate seeds of change that would blossom into a more connected, compassionate community. As the weeks passed, the air in the community center buzzed with anticipation. The upcoming events, Marie's mental health support network launch and the mentorship program informational session, were just around the corner, drawing more attention than anyone had anticipated. Flyers adorned local businesses, social media posts generated buzz, and community members began to rally around the initiatives. Angela felt invigorated by the energy that pulsed through the center. Each day brought new faces and new stories, the atmosphere electric with shared purpose. However, as excitement swelled, so did the challenges. With each new initiative, there were logistical hurdles to overcome, and Angela found herself juggling a myriad of responsibilities. One evening, while preparing for Marie's event, Angela received a message from Jordan. "Hey, can we meet up? I think we need to talk about the mentorship program. I'm feeling a bit stuck," it read. She sensed the urgency behind the words. Of course. How about tomorrow morning, she replied, eager to provide support. The next day, they met at their favorite cafe, the aroma of fresh coffee filling the air. Jordan appeared frazzled, his usual enthusiasm dampened. I'm worried, Angela. We've had some interest, but I don't think we'll have enough mentors to really make a difference. What if we don't have enough to pair with the kids? Angela leaned in, her heart heavy at seeing him so concerned. Let's break this down. How many mentors do you currently have, and how many do you need? Jordan pulled out his notes, his fingers trembling slightly. We have 5 committed mentors, but we need at least 10 to pair with the school's interested students. Angela considered this. Okay, we have time. Let's brainstorm ways to attract more mentors. Maybe we can host an open house to invite potential mentors to learn more about the program. His brow furrowed. But what if nobody shows up? What if they don't think they're qualified enough? Then let's change the narrative, Angela said firmly. Let's highlight that everyone has something valuable to offer. We can share stories of the mentors who have already signed up and what inspired them to get involved. We can show that mentorship is about sharing experiences, not just expertise. Jordan's expression shifted slightly, a glimmer of hope breaking through his anxiety. You're right. We can do that. Let's also reach out to local colleges. There are a lot of students looking for volunteer opportunities. Absolutely. We can make this happen, Jordan, Angela encouraged, her heart racing with renewed determination. They spent the rest of the meeting crafting a plan, their spirits lifting with every idea exchanged. That evening, as Angela returned home, she reflected on the challenges and triumphs of the past weeks. She realized that uncertainty and doubt were part of the journey, but so was resilience. It was through these moments of vulnerability that they could grow stronger as a community. The day of Marie's event arrived, and the community center buzzed with an excitement that was palpable. Chairs were set up in a circle, a warm and inviting space where stories could unfold. The walls adorned with artwork from participants, vibrant colors reflecting their journeys, seemed to pulse with life. Marie stood at the front, her nerves evident but her resolve unwavering. Angela watched as she took a deep breath and smiled at the gathering crowd. Welcome, everyone. I'm so grateful you're here today. We're launching our mental health support network, and I can't think of a better way to kick this off than by sharing our stories. As the event unfolded, participants took turns sharing their experiences with mental health, stories filled with both heartache and hope. Angela felt the collective energy of vulnerability in the room, and tears glistened in her eyes as people opened up about their struggles. The room was a safe harbor, where empathy flourished and understanding bridged gaps. After the sharing session, Marie led discussions on coping strategies and the importance of community support. We're not alone in this, she reminded everyone. Together, we can create a space where it's okay not to be okay. Angela watched in awe as participants engaged in deep conversation, exchanging contact information, and forging connections. It was a moment of pure magic, a testament to the power of shared experience and the strength found in community. When the event wrapped up, there was a palpable sense of relief and accomplishment in the air. Marie beamed as she thanked everyone for their bravery and contributions. This is just the beginning, she declared, and the crowd erupted in applause. In the days following the event, the support network began to grow. Marie coordinated meetups, and Angela assisted in creating a social media presence to reach a wider audience. The initiative was blossoming, and Angela felt an overwhelming sense of pride in what they had accomplished together. However, amid the joy, Jordan still faced challenges with the mentorship program. As they approached the open house date, they struggled to gain traction. Doubt began to creep back in, and Jordan's earlier confidence waned. One evening, while preparing for their promotional push, Jordan looked at Angela with worry etched across his face. What if we don't get enough mentors? What if it all falls apart? Angela placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Remember, every journey has bumps along the way. We've done the groundwork, and we have a few weeks left to reach out. Let's not lose sight of the impact we can make, even with just a few mentors. But what if it's not enough? He pressed, his voice barely above a whisper. Angela took a deep breath, recalling her own moments of uncertainty. Let's shift the focus. Instead of worrying about the numbers, let's emphasize the quality of the connections we can create. We can still make a meaningful impact, even if it's small to start. Jordan nodded, a flicker of hope igniting within him. They rallied their team, and together they reached out to local colleges and community organizations, highlighting the unique experiences mentors could offer. As the open house approached, the sense of urgency transformed into determination. The night arrived, and Angela stood by Jordan's side, ready to welcome potential mentors. The room was filled with warmth, a tapestry of eager faces reflecting a shared commitment to making a difference. Slowly, more mentors began to trickle in, some eager to learn about the program, others simply curious. Angela felt a swell of hope as stories were exchanged, connections blossoming in real time. As the night unfolded, Angela looked over at Jordan, who was animatedly discussing the program with a group of potential mentors. His earlier anxiety seemed to fade away, replaced by the thrill of possibility. By the end of the evening, they had secured commitments from several new mentors, enough to ensure that the mentorship program could move forward. That night, as Angela returned home, she reflected on the importance of resilience. The challenges they faced were merely stepping stones, guiding them toward deeper connections and more meaningful impacts. In the days that followed, the mentorship program took off, and Angela found herself at the heart of a community that was truly alive. They were learning from one another, sharing experiences, and growing together in ways she had only dreamed of. As the community continued to flourish, Angela knew one thing for sure: they were just getting started, and the tides of change were rising, carrying them toward a brighter future together. With the mentorship program now gaining momentum, Angela felt a renewed sense of purpose. Each week, she saw the impact of their work reflected in the faces of the students and mentors alike. Relationships were forming, stories were being shared, and hope was blossoming in the community. Marie's mental health support network was also thriving. Participants expressed gratitude for the safe space they had created, and many began to take active roles in facilitating discussions. They were not only sharing their own journeys but also offering support and guidance to others, creating a ripple effect of compassion and understanding. One day, Angela received an email from a local high school principal, inviting her to speak at an upcoming assembly about the importance of mental health and community support. Excited but nervous, Angela accepted, knowing that it was a chance to spread their message further. The day of the assembly arrived, and Angela stood in front of a sea of young faces, the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. She began with a personal story, recounting her own struggles with anxiety and the role community played in her healing journey. The auditorium was silent, the students' attention captured. "I want you to know that it's okay to ask for help," she said, her voice steady. "We all face challenges, and it's important to talk about them. You're not alone in this. Together, we can create a supportive environment where everyone feels valued." As she spoke, Angela noticed several students nodding in understanding, their expressions a mix of curiosity and empathy. When she finished, she opened the floor for questions. Hands shot up, and a lively discussion ensued. The students were eager to share their thoughts and experiences, and Angela felt the energy in the room shift. They were ready to talk about mental health, breaking down the barriers that had once silenced them. After the assembly, several students approached Angela, expressing interest in getting involved with the mentorship program and support network. She felt a surge of excitement, knowing that their efforts were resonating with the younger generation. That evening, Angela returned to the community center, energized by the day's events. She found Marie in the lounge, surrounded by a group of participants. The room buzzed with laughter and camaraderie. "Hey, Angela. You just missed some amazing stories. Marie exclaimed, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. We were talking about how we can extend our reach to schools and colleges. I think we should host a mental health awareness day. Angela's heart raced at the thought. That's a fantastic idea. We can bring in speakers, hold workshops, and create an interactive space where people can learn about mental health and community support. As they brainstormed, the excitement grew. Ideas flowed freely, and soon they had a plan in place. They would host the Awareness Day in a few weeks, inviting local schools, organizations, and community members to participate. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Angela, Marie, and the team rallied together to organize the event. They reached out to mental health professionals, secured a venue, and began promoting the day through social media and flyers. The community center was alive with energy as everyone contributed their talents to make the event a success. As the day of the awareness event approached, Angela's nerves resurfaced. She wanted it to be impactful, a day that would leave a lasting impression. However, she reminded herself that they were creating something meaningful together, and that was what truly mattered. On the morning of the event, the community center was transformed. Colorful banners hung from the walls, tables were set up for workshops, and a stage was prepared for guest speakers. Angela could feel the excitement buzzing in the air as people began to arrive. Marie welcomed attendees, her warm smile radiating positivity. As the event kicked off, Angela took a moment to look around, her heart swelling with pride. This was what they had worked for, a space where people could come together to learn, share, and heal. The day unfolded beautifully. Guest speakers shared their stories, workshops focused on coping strategies and resilience, and participants engaged in meaningful discussions. Angela led a session on building community support, encouraging attendees to share their ideas and initiatives. During a break, she noticed a group of high school students gathered around a table, animatedly discussing how they could implement similar programs in their own schools. Angela approached them, her heart racing with excitement. I'm so glad to see you all here. What ideas do you have? One student spoke up, we want to start a peer support group at our school, but we're not sure where to start. Do you think you could help us? Angela beamed at their enthusiasm. Absolutely. I'd love to help you get started. Let's connect after the event and discuss your ideas. As the day came to a close, Angela felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment. The awareness event had been a resounding success, and the impact was already evident. The connections formed, the stories shared, and the initiative sparked would create a ripple effect throughout the community, inspiring others to take action. As participants began to leave, Angela stood by the door, exchanging heartfelt goodbyes and hugs. She was filled with gratitude for everyone who had contributed their time and energy to make the event a reality. Later that evening, as she sat at her desk reflecting on the day, Angela received a message from Jordan. We need to talk. I think we're onto something huge. Curiosity piqued, Angela quickly replied, arranging to meet him the next day. What could he possibly mean? The next morning, Angela arrived at the cafe, eager to hear what Jordan had discovered. He was already there, his eyes shining with excitement. I've been in touch with a local organization that's interested in collaborating with us on the mentorship program, he said, nearly bouncing in his seat. They have resources, funding, and a network of mentors ready to engage with students. We could expand this initiative beyond what we initially imagined. Angela's heart raced. That's incredible. How did this happen? I reached out after the awareness event. They saw the turnout and were impressed by our community engagement. They want to support us, Jordan explained, his enthusiasm infectious. Together, they discussed the possibilities. With additional resources, they could offer training for mentors, host workshops for ments, and reach even more students across the region. Angela felt a sense of exhilaration wash over her. This was it, the moment they had been working toward. They were not just changing lives within their own community but potentially impacting many more. As they finalized plans for the collaboration, Angela realized that the ripple effect was just beginning. Together, they were building a movement, a wave of support and understanding that could touch countless lives. And in that moment, she felt an unshakable belief that they could create lasting change. The weeks that followed were a blur of excitement and activity. With the collaboration in place, Angela and Jordan poured their energy into expanding the mentorship program, drawing on the resources and expertise offered by the local organization. Their meetings buzzed with ideas, each one more ambitious than the last. As they developed new training modules for mentors, they focused on addressing specific challenges faced by their ments. They included sessions on navigating systemic issues, building resilience, and fostering self-advocacy. Angela was determined that this program would not just support students academically but also equip them with the tools they needed to thrive in all aspects of life. One evening, Angela found herself in a brainstorming session with Marie and Jordan, surrounded by stacks of notes and colorful markers. The atmosphere was electric as they plotted the next phase of their initiative. What if we created a series of workshops that connect students with local leaders in various fields? Marie suggested, her eyes sparkling with excitement. They could learn about different career paths, get mentorship in real time, and even find internship opportunities. I love that idea. Jordan chimed in. We could invite leaders from various industries, science, arts, technology. Everyone could benefit from seeing the possibilities available to them. Angela nodded, feeling a rush of inspiration. Let's host a career fair alongside our mentorship workshops. It could be a huge draw for students and show them that they have options. They spent the next few weeks organizing the event, reaching out to community leaders and local businesses. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Angela was touched by the willingness of so many to give back to the community, and she could feel the momentum building. On the day of the career fair, the community center was transformed once again. Tables adorned with banners showcased different careers, and a stage was set for speakers to share their journeys. Students filled the hall, their chatter and laughter creating a vibrant atmosphere. As the fair commenced, Angela moved through the crowd, watching as students connected with mentors, asking questions and exchanging contact information. She felt a sense of pride in what they had created, a space where young people could envision their futures and find support. In the middle of the bustling event, Angela spotted a familiar face. It was Mia, the girl from the neighborhood whose struggles Angela had once witnessed firsthand. She was chatting animatedly with a local artist, her face lit up with enthusiasm. Angela approached them, her heart swelling. Mia. I'm so glad to see you here. How are you finding the fair? Mia turned, her eyes bright. It's amazing, Angela. I didn't know there were so many options out there. I just talked to someone about an art program, they said they could help me build a portfolio. That's fantastic. I knew you had talent, Angela said, beaming. You're going to do great things. As the day continued, Angela witnessed countless similar moments of connection and inspiration. She felt the air shift, it was charged with hope and possibility. This was what she had envisioned, a community where individuals could come together to uplift one another. After the fair concluded, Angela, Marie, and Jordan gathered to reflect on the success of the event. I can't believe how many students showed up, Marie said, still buzzing from the excitement. This is just the beginning, isn't it? Jordan nodded, his eyes shining with determination. Absolutely. We have the foundation set. Now, we need to ensure that these connections continue. Let's follow up with both the students and mentors to maintain momentum. Over the following weeks, they reached out to participants, gathering feedback and sharing resources. Angela felt invigorated as she saw students actively engaging in their newfound opportunities, from internships to art workshops. However, amid the success, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was still more to be done. She reflected on her own journey, the hardships she had faced, and the ongoing struggles many in the community still encountered. One day, while driving home from a meeting, she received a call from Jordan. "Angela, we need to discuss the next steps. I think we should address the systemic issues that impact these students. It's great that we're providing mentorship, but we need to advocate for change on a larger scale." Angela's heart raced at the thought. "You're right. We can't just stop at mentorship. We need to work toward policy changes, advocating for better resources in schools and mental health support." As they brainstormed ideas, Angela envisioned a campaign that would bring awareness to the issues faced by their community. What if we organized a community forum? We could invite local leaders, educators, and policymakers to discuss the challenges we're facing and propose solutions together. Jordan agreed enthusiastically, and they began laying the groundwork for the forum. They reached out to potential speakers, organized logistics, and promoted the event throughout the community. On the day of the forum, the energy in the air was palpable. Community members filled the seats, eager to engage in meaningful discussions. Angela opened the forum with a heartfelt speech about the importance of advocacy and community support. As the day progressed, attendees shared their stories, shedding light on the struggles they faced: limited access to mental health resources, disparities in education, and the need for systemic change. Angela listened intently, feeling a sense of urgency swell within her. They could no longer stay silent, they had to amplify their voices. By the end of the forum, a collective determination had emerged. Attendees left with a renewed sense of purpose, ready to advocate for their community. Angela felt a surge of hope as she saw the connections forming, the alliances being forged. After the forum, Angela gathered with Jordan and Marie to reflect on the day. "I can't believe how powerful that was," Marie said, her eyes shining. "We really sparked something here." "Absolutely," Angela replied, her heart racing with possibilities. "Now we need to keep this momentum going. We should form a coalition to address these issues more systematically. Together, we can make a real impact." As they began planning the next steps, Angela felt an unshakable belief that they were on the cusp of something transformative. The journey had started with mentorship, but it was evolving into a movement, one that would not only empower individuals but also challenge the systems that held them back. And in that moment, Angela understood that the ripple effect was more than just a metaphor, it was a call to action. Together, they were ready to create waves of change that would echo throughout the community and beyond. The following weeks were a whirlwind of activity as Angela, Jordan, and Marie worked tirelessly to establish their coalition. They named it Voices United, a nod to their commitment to amplify the voices of those often unheard in their community. The first task was to create a comprehensive plan outlining their goals and strategies. They gathered feedback from community members, seeking input on the issues that mattered most to them. It was heartening to see the enthusiasm in the community. People were eager to be involved and share their experiences. With a solid foundation in place, Angela organized a community meeting to introduce the coalition to a broader audience. The venue was packed, a diverse crowd of residents, students, parents, and local leaders. Angela felt a mix of excitement and nerves as she stood before them. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "We are launching Voices United to create a platform where our community can come together, share our stories, and advocate for change. Together, we can address the systemic issues affecting our youth and work toward a brighter future." As she spoke, she could see the faces in the crowd light up with hope. The energy was infectious, and by the end of the meeting, attendees were buzzing with ideas and possibilities. They divided into smaller groups to discuss specific topics: education, mental health, and community resources, determined to formulate actionable steps. In the days that followed, the coalition gained traction. Meetings were filled with passionate discussions, and subcommittees began to form, each focused on different issues. Angela found herself energized by the collaboration. there was a sense of purpose that ignited a fire within her. One evening, while reviewing notes from a recent meeting, Angela received a call from Mia. "Angela, I have an idea," Mia said, her voice bubbling with excitement. "What if we started a youth-led initiative? We could have students organize events and campaigns around the issues we care about." Angela's heart swelled with pride. "That's a brilliant idea, Mia. Empowering youth to take the lead will not only give them a voice but also inspire others in the community to engage." Mia shared her vision for a youth council that would represent different schools and communities, allowing students to share their perspectives and advocate for change. They discussed ways to structure the council and how it could work alongside Voices United. As the weeks turned into months, the youth council began to take shape. Students from various backgrounds joined, bringing their experiences and ideas to the table. They organized their first event, a community cleanup and awareness campaign addressing littering and its impact on the environment. On the day of the event, Angela watched with pride as the Youth Council led the charge, rallying their peers and community members. They handed out flyers, educated participants on the importance of keeping their community clean, and even organized a friendly competition between neighborhoods. Angela joined in, picking up trash alongside the students, their laughter echoing through the streets. It was a beautiful day, and the energy was palpable. This was more than just a cleanup, it was a celebration of community spirit and collective action. As the event concluded, the Youth Council gathered to share their reflections. "I can't believe how many people came out today," one student exclaimed, her eyes shining. "We really made an impact." Angela smiled, filled with pride. "You all did an incredible job. This is just the beginning. We have so much potential to create change in our community." That evening, as she drove home, Angela felt a wave of contentment wash over her. The coalition was thriving, and the Youth Council was empowering young people to take initiative. She realized that the ripple effect they had initiated was expanding, reaching corners of the community she had never imagined. But Angela also understood that there were challenges ahead. As they continued to advocate for change, they would face resistance and setbacks. The systemic issues they aimed to tackle were deeply rooted, and change wouldn't happen overnight. A few weeks later, Angela received an invitation to speak at a local school board meeting. The board was discussing budget cuts that would disproportionately affect the schools in under-resourced neighborhoods. Angela knew this was an opportunity to address the issues head-on. On the day of the meeting, she arrived early, taking a seat among parents, teachers, and community members. As the meeting progressed, tensions rose. Parents voiced their concerns, but the board members seemed unyielding, focused on their budget constraints rather than the impact on students. When it was her turn to speak, Angela took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "My name is Angela, and I represent Voices United. I stand here not only as a community member but as a voice for our students who are often overlooked. These budget cuts will affect our youth in profound ways: less access to resources, fewer extracurricular activities, and less support for those who need it most." Her words resonated in the room. As she continued, she shared stories of students from her mentorship program, their struggles, and their dreams. She appealed to the board's sense of responsibility, urging them to reconsider the implications of their decisions. As she finished, a wave of applause erupted in the room. The board members exchanged glances, some appearing moved by her testimony. Angela felt a surge of hope, perhaps they could influence change after all. After the meeting, several parents approached her, expressing their gratitude for speaking out. "Thank you for representing our community," one mother said, her eyes filled with appreciation. "We need more voices like yours." Encouraged by the response, Angela reached out to her coalition members, rallying them to support ongoing advocacy efforts. They organized community meetings to educate residents on the budget cuts and strategies to voice their concerns effectively. As they worked together, Angela saw the power of collective action. The community began to unite, sharing stories and experiences that echoed the struggles they faced. They created a petition and gathered signatures, demanding that the school board reconsider their proposed cuts. Weeks passed, and as the board reconvened to discuss the issue, the room was filled with concerned community members. The atmosphere was charged with determination. Angela stood at the forefront, alongside students and parents, ready to advocate for their future. When the board addressed the community, Angela felt a mix of anxiety and hope. She knew they were making a difference, but the path ahead remained uncertain. In the end, the board announced that they would review the proposed cuts, citing the overwhelming community response as a factor in their decision. The room erupted in applause, a testament to the power of unity and determination. That night, as Angela reflected on the day's events, she felt an unwavering sense of purpose. The journey was far from over, but they were making strides toward a brighter future for their community. The ripple effect had begun, and together they were creating waves of change that would resonate for generations to come. With the school board's decision to reconsider budget cuts, the momentum in the community only grew stronger. Angela and the coalition felt a renewed sense of energy. The voices they had amplified were now being heard. In the following weeks, Angela organized a series of workshops aimed at empowering community members with the tools and knowledge needed to advocate for themselves. They covered topics like effective communication, understanding the political process, and how to mobilize others in their neighborhoods. The workshops drew a diverse crowd, with parents, students, and even local business owners eager to learn how they could make a difference. One evening, while facilitating a workshop on community organizing, Angela noticed Mia sitting in the front row, jotting down notes with an intensity that inspired her. After the session, Angela approached her. "Mia, you have such a passion for this work. Have you thought about leading a workshop of your own?" Mia's eyes lit up. "Really? You think I could?" "Absolutely. Your voice matters, and I think the community would benefit from hearing your perspective, especially on youth issues." With Angela's encouragement, Mia decided to host a workshop focused on youth activism. She organized a panel featuring students who had engaged in various advocacy efforts, sharing their experiences and insights. The event quickly gained traction, and on the day of the workshop, the auditorium was filled with students eager to learn and connect. Mia shone as she facilitated the discussion, her enthusiasm infectious. The students shared stories of their own initiatives, from organizing school-wide campaigns for mental health awareness to participating in local protests for social justice. As they spoke, Angela watched proudly from the back of the room, witnessing the next generation of leaders emerge. After the panel, Mia invited participants to break into small groups to brainstorm their own activism ideas. The energy in the room was palpable, and Angela felt a sense of hope swell within her. The following week, Mia approached Angela with an exciting proposal. "I want to organize a youth summit," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We can bring together students from all over the city to discuss issues that matter to us and come up with solutions." Angela's heart raced with excitement. "That's an incredible idea. Let's start planning it together." They quickly gathered a team of students to help organize the summit, drawing from the youth council and participants from the recent workshops. They brainstormed themes, potential speakers, and breakout sessions, all centered on issues that resonated with young people. As the summit date approached, word spread through schools and social media. Students were buzzing with anticipation, eager to be part of something bigger. On the day of the event, Angela arrived early, her heart swelling with pride as she watched the room fill with diverse faces, all united by a common purpose. The summit kicked off with Mia welcoming everyone, her voice confident and clear. "Today is about us, our voices, our experiences, and our power to create change." Angela felt a wave of emotion as she listened to the students share their stories. Some spoke about their struggles with mental health, others about the challenges of navigating systemic racism, and many about the need for better resources in their schools. Each story was a thread in the larger tapestry of their community, woven together by resilience and determination. During breakout sessions, participants engaged in lively discussions, brainstorming solutions to the issues they faced. Angela moved between groups, facilitating conversations and offering support. It was heartening to see the students take charge, confident in their ability to advocate for themselves and their peers. As the summit wrapped up, Mia announced that they would create a youth manifesto, a document outlining their collective vision for the future, filled with actionable steps they could take to make their ideas a reality. The room erupted in applause, and Angela felt a sense of pride wash over her. This was the power of youth-led initiatives, and she couldn't have been more grateful to witness it. After the summit, the Youth Council worked tirelessly to draft the manifesto. They included key issues like mental health resources, equity in education, and the importance of representation in school curricula. The document was a testament to their voices and their commitment to driving change. With the manifesto in hand, Angela suggested they present it to the school board. The idea was met with enthusiasm, and the students quickly organized a presentation, ready to share their vision with the decision-makers. On the day of the presentation, the school board room was packed with supporters, students, parents, and community members all gathered to witness this historic moment. Angela sat in the front row, her heart pounding with pride as Mia and her peers prepared to speak. Mia took a deep breath as she approached the podium, her confidence radiating. Today, we stand before you as the future leaders of our community. Our manifesto represents our voices, our experiences, and our vision for the changes we want to see in our schools. As Mia spoke, Angela felt a sense of purpose fill the room. The students outlined their key demands, each point backed by research and personal testimony. They called for increased funding for mental health services, programs that promote inclusivity, and resources that support marginalized students. The board members listened intently, some visibly moved by the students' passion and conviction. After the presentation, several board members expressed their gratitude for the students' hard work, pledging to take their manifesto into consideration in future meetings. That night, Angela received a message from Mia. "Angela, I can't believe we did it. Thank you for believing in us." Angela smiled as she read the text. "You did this, Mia. You and your peers are changing the narrative, and I'm so proud to be part of it." As the weeks unfolded, the impact of the Youth Summit and the manifesto began to ripple throughout the community. More students became engaged in local issues, inspired by their peers' actions. Schools began implementing programs that addressed mental health, diversity, and inclusion, all thanks to the groundwork laid by Voices United and the Youth Council. Yet, Angela knew there was still much work to be done. The challenges they faced were far from over, and she remained aware that resistance to change often reared its head in unexpected ways. But the coalition had proven that when voices united, they could create a force powerful enough to challenge the status quo. In the heart of winter, as snow blanketed the city, Angela found herself reflecting on the journey thus far. They had sparked a movement, but she also recognized the importance of self-care and support for those on the front lines of activism. To that end, she organized a retreat for coalition members, a chance to recharge and connect with one another. They spent the weekend sharing stories, practicing mindfulness, and celebrating their successes. It was a reminder that while the work was vital, so too was the need for rest and resilience. As they gathered around a fire one evening, Angela felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the community they had built. Each member brought unique strengths, experiences, and perspectives, weaving a rich tapestry of solidarity. The fire crackled, and laughter filled the air as they shared dreams and aspirations for the future. Angela listened, her heart full, knowing that together they were creating a legacy of hope and change that would transcend generations. As spring approached, Angela felt the energy in the community shift again. The success of the Youth Summit had set off a chain reaction, inspiring even more grassroots initiatives. New organizations formed, dedicated to issues ranging from environmental justice to racial equity, all echoing the values Angela and her coalition had instilled. However, with the rise in activism came a wave of pushback. Some community members, particularly those with established power and influence, began to see the youth's mobilization as a threat. Rumors circulated, and misinformation spread, creating a divide that Angela had hoped to bridge. One afternoon, while attending a local meeting about school funding, Angela overheard a conversation that sent a chill down her spine. A small group of parents, clearly unhappy with the recent changes, was discussing ways to undermine the youth-led initiatives. "They're just kids," one parent scoffed. "What do they know about running a school? We need to put them in their place." Angela's heart raced. She understood that not everyone was ready to embrace the change, but hearing such blatant disregard for the youth's voices was disheartening. She resolved to confront this negativity head-on. The following day, she gathered the coalition members to strategize. "We need to address the misinformation and unite the community around our goals," she urged. "We can't let fear dictate our progress." Mia stood up, her eyes fierce. "Let's organize a community forum. We can invite everyone, parents, students, teachers, to share their perspectives and work through these challenges together." The coalition quickly mobilized, setting up a date for the forum and spreading the word through social media and flyers. They wanted to create a safe space for dialogue, encouraging honest conversations about the changes taking place in the schools. As the forum day approached, Angela felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. Would the community be open to engaging in constructive dialogue, or would it devolve into conflict? She knew that fostering understanding was key to overcoming resistance. On the evening of the forum, the school auditorium filled with people from all walks of life. Angela noticed a palpable tension in the air as she took her place on the stage, flanked by Mia and other coalition members. They had prepared a framework for the discussion, focusing on listening and respect. Mia opened the forum, her voice steady. "Thank you all for being here. Tonight, we want to hear from everyone. We know that change can be hard, but together we can find solutions that work for our entire community." As the discussions began, people shared their feelings. Some were excited about the initiatives, while others expressed concerns. Angela made sure everyone had a chance to speak, encouraging a spirit of openness. Gradually, a pattern emerged. Many of the skeptics expressed fears about losing control over their children's education and worries that the youth lacked the experience to advocate effectively. Angela saw an opportunity to bridge the gap. "I understand these concerns," she said, leaning into the microphone. "But let's remember that our youth have unique insights and experiences. They are living the issues we discuss every day. What if we work together to guide them rather than dismiss them?" As the conversation evolved, Angela witnessed a shift. Participants began to see the youth not as adversaries but as partners in the quest for a better education. Parents shared their own struggles and aspirations for their children, allowing space for empathy to emerge. After several hours of heartfelt discussion, the room buzzed with a newfound energy. By the end of the forum, many of the initial skeptics had softened their stance, agreeing to collaborate on initiatives that aligned with their shared goals. As attendees filed out, Angela felt a wave of relief. They had created a platform for dialogue, fostering understanding and respect. The coalition's commitment to inclusivity and collaboration was beginning to bear fruit. In the weeks that followed, Angela and the coalition continued to engage with the community. They organized listening sessions, where people could voice their concerns and contribute ideas. Slowly, a spirit of collaboration began to take hold. However, challenges still loomed. As they pressed on, Angela received news of a local organization planning to protest against the changes in the school system. The group, fueled by a narrative that painted the youth-led initiatives as radical, threatened to disrupt their momentum. Angela knew they needed a proactive approach. "We can't let them frame the narrative," she said to Mia and the coalition during a strategy meeting. "We need to show our community that our initiatives are rooted in love and a desire for progress." Mia nodded, her determination unwavering. "What if we organize a counter-event? A celebration of what we've accomplished so far and a showcase of our vision for the future. Inspired by Mia's idea, the coalition sprang into action. They planned a community day filled with activities, speakers, and workshops that highlighted the positive changes taking place in the schools. It would be a chance for families to come together, share their stories, and celebrate their shared goals. On the day of the event, the park was filled with vibrant energy. Booths were set up with information on the Youth Manifesto, mental health resources, and opportunities for engagement. Angela watched as families gathered, children played, and laughter filled the air. As the sun set, Mia took the stage to address the crowd. Today, we celebrate our community and the incredible power we have when we come together. This isn't just about school changes, it's about our future. Angela felt tears prick at her eyes as she watched Mia speak with such passion and conviction. It was moments like these that reaffirmed her belief in the transformative power of youth activism. However, just as the crowd erupted in applause, a group of protesters appeared at the edge of the park, their signs waving defiantly. Angela's heart sank, but she quickly steeled herself. She knew that the best way to counter negativity was with positivity and resilience. With Mia's encouragement, Angela stepped forward, addressing the crowd. We welcome everyone here today, even those who disagree with us. Let's show them that our love for this community and our commitment to progress will always prevail. As the cheers erupted, Angela felt a rush of solidarity wash over her. They would not be intimidated by dissent, they would rise together, stronger and more united than ever. The weeks following the community celebration passed in a whirlwind of activity and newfound energy. The coalition had gained momentum, and the youth's message resonated throughout the community. Angela felt invigorated, knowing that they had made significant strides in creating a more inclusive environment. However, the presence of the protesters lingered like a shadow. Angela and the coalition knew that they would have to engage with this dissent rather than avoid it. They wanted to understand the root of the resistance and address it head-on. One evening, Angela and Mia sat down to draft a letter inviting the protesters to a dialogue. They framed it as an opportunity for open discussion, emphasizing the importance of understanding different perspectives. Maybe they just need to hear our stories, Mia suggested. Sometimes all it takes is a conversation to bridge that divide. As they finalized the letter, Angela felt a mix of hope and trepidation. Would the protesters accept their invitation? Would they be willing to engage in meaningful dialogue? To their surprise, a few days later, they received a response. A small group of protesters agreed to meet, expressing a desire to share their concerns about the youth-led initiatives. The meeting was set for a local cafe, a neutral ground where both sides could gather comfortably. As Angela and Mia arrived, they felt the weight of anticipation in the air. Would this be a constructive conversation or a heated debate? The protesters arrived, a mix of parents and community members, their expressions wary but determined. Angela took a deep breath, reminding herself of the coalition's mission, to listen, understand, and find common ground. Thank you all for coming, she began, her voice steady. We know there are differing opinions in our community, and we truly want to understand your concerns. A woman named Karen, who appeared to be one of the protest leaders, spoke first. We're worried that the changes in our schools are moving too fast. It feels like our voices are being drowned out by the youth. We're concerned about what this means for our children's education. Angela nodded, taking in the sentiment. I understand. Change can be overwhelming, especially when it feels imposed. Our goal is to work collaboratively to create a better environment for all students. We believe that including youth perspectives enriches the conversation. As the dialogue unfolded, it became clear that many of the protesters shared similar values, a desire for better education, a safe environment for their children, and a community that listens to all voices. The issue lay in the fear that their own concerns were being marginalized. Mia chimed in, what if we formed a committee that includes parents, students, and educators to discuss these changes? We can work together to address everyone's concerns. Karen hesitated, then nodded slowly. That could work. But we need to ensure that our voices are heard too. Absolutely, Angela affirmed. This has to be a space for everyone. We want to create a platform where we can all collaborate and voice our concerns. The meeting continued, transforming from a confrontation into a collaborative brainstorming session. By the end, they had outlined a plan to establish a joint committee aimed at fostering ongoing dialogue and cooperation. As they parted ways, Angela felt a spark of optimism. They had taken a significant step toward healing divisions within the community. The conversation had opened doors, and for the first time, she sensed a willingness to find common ground. In the days that followed, Angela and Mia worked tirelessly to formalize the new committee. They sent out invitations to parents, students, and educators, eager to build a diverse and inclusive group that could address community concerns. To their delight, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Parents who had initially protested were now eager to participate, bringing their experiences and insights to the table. The committee met bi-weekly, becoming a space for sharing ideas and brainstorming solutions. However, as they dove deeper into the work, Angela recognized the underlying challenges that remained. While many were enthusiastic about collaboration, there were still individuals who held fast to their fears, convinced that the youth-led initiatives would lead to chaos. One evening, after a particularly intense meeting, Angela sat down with Mia. I feel like we're making progress, but there's still a lot of fear in the community. Some people are still resistant to change. Mia sighed, her brow furrowed. I know. It's frustrating. But maybe we need to focus on small wins, showing tangible results from our collaboration. That could help shift perceptions. Angela nodded thoughtfully. Let's plan a community project that showcases the benefits of working together. Something that involves both youth and adults, highlighting our shared goals. They brainstormed ideas late into the night and finally settled on organizing a community garden. It would be a collaborative effort where families could come together to cultivate vegetables and flowers, fostering connections across generations. Excited by the idea, they began to rally support. The committee embraced the project, seeing it as a way to unite the community and demonstrate the power of collaboration. They reached out to local businesses for donations and enlisted the help of the youth to design the garden. On the day of the garden launch, Angela stood in front of a diverse crowd gathered at a vacant lot. The sun shone brightly, illuminating the excited faces of families, students, and community members. Today, we're planting more than just seeds, she said, her voice filled with emotion. We're planting the roots of our community. Together, we can grow something beautiful. As the group divided into teams to begin planting, laughter and conversation filled the air. Angela watched as parents and students worked side by side, their hands dirty with soil and their hearts light with joy. The garden blossomed into a symbol of unity, a testament to what could be achieved when people set aside their differences and worked toward a common goal. Over time, it became a gathering place for community events, a space for learning, and a source of fresh produce for families in need. However, Angela knew that their work was far from over. The tide of change was not merely a destination but a continuous journey. Together with Mia and the committee, she remained committed to fostering collaboration, understanding, and resilience in their community. The community garden became a vibrant hub of activity, with families coming together each week to tend to the plants. Angela felt a profound sense of fulfillment watching children dig their hands into the earth alongside their parents, laughter and chatter echoing in the air. The garden not only provided fresh produce but also nurtured relationships that had once felt strained. However, as the garden flourished, so did the complexities of community dynamics. Angela noticed that while many embraced the initiative, others remained skeptical. Some parents still felt their voices were overshadowed, worried that the youth-led initiatives prioritized young perspectives over their own. One evening, after a long day at the garden, Angela met with Mia and a few committee members to discuss their next steps. We need to ensure that every voice feels valued, Angela said, glancing around the table. The garden is great, but we need to find ways to integrate the concerns of those who still feel left out. I think we should host a community forum, Mia suggested. A space where everyone can share their thoughts openly, parents, youth, teachers. We can facilitate discussions and work on understanding each other better. Angela nodded, feeling the weight of the idea. That could help. But we need to ensure that it doesn't turn into a shouting match. We need guidelines to keep the conversation constructive. The committee members discussed the logistics of the forum, outlining the need for a respectful atmosphere where everyone could share their experiences without fear of backlash. They agreed to set ground rules, emphasizing the importance of active listening and empathy. As the date of the forum approached, Angela felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Would the community embrace this opportunity for dialogue, or would it devolve into conflict? The evening of the forum arrived, and the community center buzzed with energy. People trickled in, filling the room with a tapestry of faces, parents, youth, educators, and even a few protesters who had once been vocal in their dissent. Angela took a deep breath, hoping for open minds and hearts. Once everyone was seated, Angela stepped up to the podium. Thank you all for being here tonight. We're here to listen and learn from each other. Let's remember that our goal is to build a stronger, more inclusive community. The room fell silent as she introduced the evening's format. They would break into small groups to discuss specific topics, then reconvene to share insights. The first topic was, what does an inclusive community look like to you? As the groups formed, Angela found herself in a circle with a mix of parents and youth. One father, David, spoke up, his voice tinged with concern. I worry that the changes are happening too fast. I want to support my kids, but it feels like I'm being pushed aside. A teenager named Sarah responded, I understand that. But we're not trying to dismiss you. We just want to be heard too. It's about finding a balance. The discussion flowed naturally, with each voice adding layers of understanding. As they shared personal stories, a sense of empathy blossomed. Angela felt a shift in the room, walls began to crumble, and people opened up in ways she hadn't expected. During the reconvening, each group shared their insights. The recurring theme was a desire for collaboration and mutual respect. The protesters, who had initially attended with skepticism, began to acknowledge the importance of youth perspectives in shaping their community's future. At the end of the evening, Angela opened the floor for final thoughts. A woman named Lisa, who had been one of the more vocal opponents of the youth initiatives, stood up. I came here tonight feeling frustrated, but I've realized that I want the same things as you all do, safe schools and a thriving community. I just want to make sure we're all part of that conversation. Her admission brought a wave of applause and murmurs of agreement. Angela smiled, feeling the warmth of connection that had formed throughout the evening. As the forum concluded, Angela and Mia felt a renewed sense of purpose. The dialogue had paved the way for a stronger community bond. They decided to establish a regular schedule for these forums, creating a consistent space for ongoing conversations. However, they also knew that the work wasn't finished. The garden needed ongoing care, and the coalition required constant nurturing to sustain the momentum they had built. As the weeks rolled on, Angela found herself immersed in the dual responsibilities of tending to the garden and facilitating the forums. The once empty lot transformed into a lush landscape of vegetables, flowers, and community spirit. Each Saturday, families gathered to plant, weed, and harvest, and in the process, they cultivated connections. But the delicate balance of their progress faced a new test. One day, as Angela and Mia were setting up for the weekend's gardening session, they overheard a heated conversation nearby. A group of parents was discussing a proposed school policy that would further integrate youth-led programs into the curriculum. They're trying to push this through without consulting us, one father grumbled. What do they know about education? Angela's heart sank. Despite their efforts to foster collaboration, there were still deep-seated fears and misunderstandings. She approached the group, feeling the urgency of the moment. "Hey, can we talk about this?" she asked, her voice steady. "I know there are concerns about the new policy." The parents looked hesitant but nodded. They formed a circle, and Angela encouraged an open discussion about their worries and hopes for the proposed changes. "We want to make sure our kids are receiving a balanced education," another mother chimed in. "But it feels like our input isn't valued." Angela listened carefully, acknowledging their concerns. "It's crucial that all voices are included in this process. Let's work together to ensure that everyone has a chance to contribute. How about we set up another forum specifically for this topic?" The parents agreed, their expressions shifting from frustration to cautious optimism. They realized that their fears could be addressed constructively, but only if they were willing to engage in the conversation. As Angela walked away from the discussion, she felt a renewed sense of determination. This was what community was about, coming together to face challenges, understanding each other's fears, and working collaboratively toward solutions. Over the next few weeks, the committee organized a dedicated forum to discuss the proposed policy. Parents, educators, and students gathered to voice their thoughts and collaborate on potential solutions. By fostering an environment of respect and openness, they were able to navigate the complexities of the issue together. The school policy ultimately evolved, incorporating input from all sides. Angela felt a sense of pride in the progress they had made, knowing that they had created a platform where diverse voices could coexist and flourish. As the garden continued to grow, so did the spirit of unity within the community. Angela's heart swelled with hope, realizing that while challenges would always arise, the power of connection and collaboration could overcome even the deepest divides. Together, they were cultivating not just a garden but a thriving community where every voice mattered, and every story had a place. As summer bloomed, the community garden thrived, its colors brightening the neighborhood and drawing in visitors from far and wide. Angela marveled at the transformation that had taken place, not just in the landscape but in the hearts of the people who came to nurture it. Families gathered on Saturday mornings, their laughter blending with the gentle rustle of leaves and the buzzing of bees. However, the rhythm of community life was about to face an unexpected disruption. One day, while Angela was watering the tomato plants, she overheard a conversation among a group of older teens who often volunteered at the garden. They were discussing the upcoming school board meeting, where a controversial proposal regarding the integration of community-led programs into the school curriculum would be voted on. "They're saying that we might lose some of our programs if we don't show up in force," one of the teens, Malik, said, his brow furrowed with concern. "I can't believe they would even think about cutting our gardening club." Angela felt a knot form in her stomach. She knew that the bond they had forged through the garden was fragile and could be threatened by the decisions made behind closed doors. She decided to take action, recognizing that it was essential to rally support and ensure that the voices of the youth and families were heard. That evening, Angela called an urgent meeting with the coalition. She wanted to strategize on how to mobilize the community for the school board meeting. "We can't just let them decide our future without us," she said, her voice firm. "We need to show up and express how much these programs mean to us." Mia nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "What if we organize a march before the meeting? We can gather everyone and bring signs that show our support for the gardening club and other community initiatives." Angela felt a surge of excitement at the idea. "Yes. We can invite the families from the garden, students, and anyone who believes in the importance of community-led programs. We'll make our voices heard." Over the next week, the coalition worked tirelessly to spread the word. Flyers were distributed, social media posts were shared, and conversations buzzed throughout the neighborhood. Angela felt a sense of urgency build as the day of the school board meeting approached. The community was ready to stand together. On the morning of the march, a vibrant crowd gathered in the community garden. Children painted signs, parents baked treats for the marchers, and a local musician set up to play uplifting songs. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation and determination. As they marched through the neighborhood, Angela led the way, holding a sign that read, "Growing Together for Our Future." The streets filled with laughter and chants, a chorus of unity echoing in the air. They reached the school board building, where a growing crowd had already gathered, signaling the community's support. Inside, the board members were taken aback by the turnout. As Angela stepped up to the podium during the public comment section, she felt a mix of nerves and resolve. She spoke passionately about the impact of community-led programs, emphasizing the importance of nurturing not just plants but relationships and connections within the community. Our gardening club is more than just a space to grow food. It's a place where our youth learn responsibility, teamwork, and the value of community. Cutting these programs means cutting off opportunities for our children to thrive, Angela said, her voice unwavering. One by one, others from the community stepped forward, sharing personal stories of how the garden had transformed their lives, brought families together, and provided a safe haven for youth. The board members listened intently, their expressions shifting from indifference to recognition of the collective passion in the room. After the final comment, the board members took a moment to deliberate. The tension in the air was palpable. Finally, the head of the board addressed the crowd. "We hear you. Your voices matter, and we will take your input into consideration as we review the proposed changes. We value the community's involvement, and we want to work together moving forward." A wave of applause erupted, and Angela felt a rush of relief. The fight wasn't over, but this was a significant step in the right direction. As the crowd began to disperse, many lingered, chatting and sharing their thoughts about the meeting. Back at the community garden, the celebration continued. Families gathered to share food and laughter, grateful for the connections they had built. Angela looked around, her heart swelling with pride. They had stood together, united by a common goal, and had made their voices heard. In the weeks that followed, the school board committed to reviewing the community's feedback and exploring ways to integrate youth-led programs into the curriculum without sacrificing existing initiatives. Angela felt a sense of optimism as she watched families continue to pour into the garden, their bonds deepening with every shared moment. But amidst the joy, Angela remained aware of the challenges that lay ahead. She knew that change often came with resistance, and they would need to be vigilant in advocating for their community's needs. One afternoon, as Angela was weeding the flower beds, Mia approached her, a look of determination on her face. "I think we need to keep the momentum going. What if we start a mentorship program where older teens can guide younger kids in the garden? It would strengthen our community even more." Angela's eyes lit up. "That's a fantastic idea. It'll create opportunities for leadership and skill building while fostering connections across generations." They began brainstorming how to implement the program, discussing potential activities and how to recruit mentors. As they collaborated, Angela felt a renewed sense of purpose and excitement about the future of the garden and the community. As the mentorship program launched, older teens took younger kids under their wings, teaching them about gardening, responsibility, and teamwork. The garden blossomed, not just in plants but in friendships and connections that transcended age and background. But with growth came challenges. One afternoon, a group of parents raised concerns about the mentoring program, worried that it might inadvertently take away opportunities from younger children. Angela recognized the need for transparency and dialogue to address their fears. She organized a community meeting to discuss the program openly. "I understand your concerns," Angela said, addressing the group of parents. "Our goal is to create a supportive environment where everyone benefits. Let's work together to find solutions." Through heartfelt conversations, they reached a compromise that satisfied the parents while preserving the program's intent. The community's willingness to engage in dialogue reinforced Angela's belief in the power of collaboration. As summer turned to fall, the garden stood as a testament to their collective efforts. The fruits of their labor began to ripen, both in the ground and within the relationships they had cultivated. Angela stood in the garden one evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the plants. She felt a sense of gratitude wash over her, gratitude for the connections formed, the challenges faced, and the community that had come together to nurture not only a garden but each other. They had planted the seeds of change, and together, they would continue to grow. With the arrival of fall, the community garden began to transform into a tapestry of warm colors. The leaves on the trees turned brilliant shades of orange, red, and gold, and the air was filled with the earthy scent of rich soil and ripened produce. It was harvest time, a celebration of the fruits of their labor and a reminder of the hard work they had put into nurturing both the garden and their relationships. Angela organized a harvest festival to commemorate the season and showcase the bounty they had cultivated. She envisioned a day filled with activities, from apple bobbing to pumpkin carving, alongside a communal feast featuring dishes made from the garden's produce. Everyone in the community was invited, and Angela felt a buzz of excitement in the days leading up to the event. On the morning of the festival, the garden was alive with activity. Families arrived early, eager to set up booths and decorations. Children raced through the rows of vegetables, their laughter ringing through the air. Angela helped Mia prepare the food, their hands busy chopping vegetables and baking pies, the warmth of the oven filling the space with a comforting aroma. As the festival commenced, Angela watched with joy as neighbors mingled and families came together, sharing stories and smiles. The garden, once a mere patch of land, had become a vibrant hub of community life. The mentorship program had flourished, with older teens guiding younger children through the activities, reinforcing bonds that would last beyond the season. Angela took a moment to step back and absorb the scene. A table piled high with fresh produce stood at the center, surrounded by colorful decorations made by the kids. Nearby, Malik was leading a group of younger children in a game of garden scavenger hunt, while other volunteers set up a stage for local musicians to perform. The spirit of joy and gratitude enveloped the garden like a warm embrace. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the festivities, Angela gathered everyone for the closing ceremony. Standing before her friends and neighbors, she felt a swell of pride and love. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice steady but emotional. "This garden represents so much more than just the fruits we grow. It embodies the connections we've built, the challenges we've faced, and the hope we have for the future. Together, we have created a place where everyone belongs." Applause erupted, and Angela smiled, her heart full. She felt an overwhelming sense of unity among the crowd, a community that had come together not just to cultivate a garden, but to cultivate understanding, compassion, and support for one another. Just then, a loud cheer erupted from the crowd as a group of teens brought out a giant pumpkin, parading it around like a trophy. "Look at this beauty," one of them exclaimed, showcasing the vibrant orange gourd that had grown in their garden. "We should enter it in the local fair." The idea sparked enthusiasm among the crowd, and discussions began about how they could showcase the garden's produce in the upcoming county fair. The excitement was palpable, and Angela could see the spark of creativity ignite within her community. "Let's do it," Angela encouraged, her excitement infectious. "We can enter the pumpkin, along with other vegetables and maybe even some of the baked goods from today. This is our chance to show everyone what we've accomplished." With plans taking shape for their fair participation, Angela felt invigorated. The community was buzzing with ideas, and for the first time, the prospect of competing in the fair didn't seem daunting. It felt like a celebration of everything they had worked for together. As the festival wound down, Angela looked around at the smiling faces, the laughter echoing in the cool evening air. It was clear that this was just the beginning of something bigger. She could envision the garden continuing to thrive, with new initiatives sprouting from the strong roots they had established. However, as winter approached, Angela knew they would need to prepare for the season ahead. The community had grown accustomed to supporting each other through the changing seasons, but the cold months could bring their own set of challenges. She decided it was time to gather the coalition once more to discuss how they would sustain their garden and community spirit during the winter months. In the following weeks, as the leaves fell and the air turned crisp, Angela organized a series of workshops focused on winter gardening techniques, preserving their harvest, and engaging in indoor activities that could keep the community connected. The response was overwhelming. Families were eager to learn how to preserve their bounty and keep the spirit of the garden alive even as the ground lay dormant. During one workshop, they learned how to make homemade preserves and pickles. The kitchen buzzed with activity as families chopped, stirred, and canned together, the air filled with the sweet and tangy scents of their creations. Angela watched as children and parents worked side by side, sharing laughter and stories about their favorite summer memories in the garden. After a long day of canning, Angela gathered everyone for a final tasting. As they sat around the communal table, sampling their creations, she felt a deep sense of belonging wash over her. The connections forged through the garden were more than friendships, they were bonds that would last a lifetime. "Thank you for being part of this journey," Angela said, her heart full. "We are more than just a community garden. We are a family. And as we move into winter, let's remember that even when things seem quiet, we have each other." The warmth of her words resonated with the group, and Angela realized that the garden had become a symbol of resilience, a source of hope in a world that could often feel isolating. As winter settled in, Angela remained committed to fostering connections, organizing monthly gatherings where families could share meals, stories, and their aspirations for the future. The garden lay dormant, but inside their hearts, the seeds of hope and connection continued to grow. One evening, as the first snowfall blanketed the ground, Angela stood by her window, watching the world transform into a serene winter wonderland. She felt a quiet anticipation within her, knowing that even in the stillness, there was potential for growth. The community had faced challenges, but together, they had cultivated resilience, nurturing not just a garden but a way of life that thrived on unity, compassion, and hope. As winter deepened, Angela found comfort in the rhythm of the seasons. The cold months brought a sense of reflection and anticipation, a time to dream about what was to come in the garden when spring finally arrived. Despite the chill outside, the warmth of the community kept her spirit high. Angela continued to host monthly gatherings, each with its own theme to inspire creativity and collaboration. The idea was to keep the community engaged, allowing them to plan for the next planting season while nurturing the connections they had built. She was pleasantly surprised by the turnout. Families brought dishes made from their preserved harvests, sharing meals that sparked nostalgia for the summer's bounty. One evening, as they gathered for a vision board night, Angela encouraged everyone to bring magazines, art supplies, and their dreams for the future. She envisioned a space where they could visualize their hopes and aspirations, not just for the garden, but for their lives and the community as a whole. "Tonight, let's dream big," Angela said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "We can create a vision for our garden, our community, and our individual goals. Let's see what we can accomplish together." The energy in the room was palpable as families dove into their projects. Children giggled as they cut out images of flowers, fruits, and vegetables, while adults shared stories of their dreams and aspirations. Angela moved from table to table, listening and encouraging their ideas, her heart swelling with pride at the creativity unfolding before her. As the evening progressed, Angela noticed Malik in a corner, deep in thought. She approached him, curious about what he was working on. He looked up, a serious expression on his face. "I want to start a youth gardening club," he said, his voice steady. "I think we could teach kids about growing their own food, and maybe even start a small business selling what we grow. It would help our community be more self-sufficient." Angela's heart raced with excitement. "That's an amazing idea, Malik. What do you envision for this club? How can I help?" Malik grinned, his confidence shining through. "I want to meet once a week, have lessons on different plants, and do hands-on gardening projects. Maybe we can even partner with local businesses to sell our produce at the farmers' market." "I love it. We can brainstorm how to organize the club at our next meeting," Angela replied, her mind racing with possibilities. "This could be a fantastic way to engage more youth and continue our mission of community support." With Malik's idea at the forefront of their discussions, the group worked diligently on their vision boards, capturing dreams for the garden and the future. The walls of the community center soon filled with vibrant images and words of inspiration, a testament to the hopes they were nurturing together. As the winter months rolled on, Angela and Malik met frequently to plan for the Youth Gardening Club, reaching out to local organizations for support and resources. They secured donations of seeds, tools, and even sponsorship from a local garden center, which thrilled the community. The excitement in the air was contagious as the first day of the Youth Gardening Club approached. Angela had invited parents to attend as well, wanting to foster an environment where everyone felt included. On a crisp Saturday morning, the community gathered in the garden, the sun breaking through the clouds, illuminating the dormant plants that would soon awaken. "Welcome, everyone," Malik said, standing on a makeshift stage made of hay bales. His passion was evident as he addressed the group. "Today marks the beginning of our journey together. We're here to learn, grow, and help our community thrive." The crowd cheered, and Angela beamed with pride as she watched Malik take charge. They started with a tour of the garden, discussing the different plants, their seasons, and the importance of nurturing the soil. Malik encouraged everyone to share their experiences and knowledge, fostering a sense of camaraderie and collaboration. After the tour, they gathered in a circle to discuss their first project, planting seeds indoors to start their spring crops. Angela shared tips on how to start seedlings, emphasizing the importance of patience and care in the growing process. The children listened intently, eager to learn and contribute. As they worked, Angela could feel the energy of the garden shifting. It was no longer just a plot of land. It was a vibrant space of hope, a place where dreams were taking root. The Youth Gardening Club not only taught valuable skills but also built confidence and leadership among the young participants. In the following weeks, the club flourished. Malik led sessions on different gardening techniques, and Angela assisted him, providing guidance and encouragement. The kids eagerly engaged, asking questions, experimenting with planting, and sharing ideas on how they could enhance the garden. As spring approached, the community began to see the fruits of their labor. The seedlings sprouted, and laughter filled the air as children raced through the garden, their excitement palpable. The transformation was incredible. The garden was awakening from its winter slumber, just as the community was invigorating with fresh ideas and renewed purpose. One afternoon, as they planted the last of the seedlings, Malik stood before the group, his face beaming with pride. "Look what we've accomplished together. We've grown not only plants but friendships and a deeper connection to our community. I can't wait to see how this garden continues to thrive." Angela's heart swelled as she observed the bond forming among the children. They were not just learning how to garden, they were building a sense of belonging and responsibility. The garden had become a safe haven where they could express themselves, learn from one another, and grow together. As they wrapped up for the day, Angela noticed a few parents lingering, their faces filled with gratitude. One mother approached her, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for creating this space for my daughter. She's come alive in ways I didn't think were possible. The garden is truly a gift to our community." Angela felt a wave of emotion wash over her, knowing that their efforts were making a real difference. "We're all in this together," she replied, her voice filled with sincerity. "The garden belongs to everyone, and it's our shared love and commitment that make it thrive." As spring bloomed around them, Angela realized that the garden had become a symbol of resilience and hope, a testament to the power of community. Each seed planted was a promise of growth, of connection, and of a brighter future. With spring in full bloom, the garden transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors and scents. The once dormant soil, now teeming with life, echoed the renewed spirit of the community. Angela watched as children and families spent more time together in the garden, nurturing not just the plants but the bonds that connected them. The Youth Gardening Club had become a cornerstone of the community, a space where young minds thrived and creativity flourished. Malik's leadership had inspired confidence, and he had developed a genuine passion for mentoring his peers. As the club grew in numbers, so did its impact. Each meeting saw a mix of laughter, learning, and the unmistakable smell of fresh earth. One Saturday morning, the air buzzed with excitement as the club prepared for their first project at the local farmers' market. Angela had reached out to local vendors, who offered support and guidance in launching a small stand for the club. They would sell their seedlings and produce, with profits going towards more gardening supplies and community projects. "Okay, team. This is our chance to show everyone what we've been working on," Malik announced, rallying the kids. "We've got a variety of seedlings ready to sell, and I want everyone to contribute. Who wants to design the stand?" Hands shot up, and the enthusiasm was infectious. They brainstormed ideas, pulling together a colorful display that would highlight their hard work. Angela felt a surge of pride as she watched them take ownership of the project, each child eager to showcase their contributions. On the day of the market, the community gathered early to set up their stand, filled with vibrant seedlings in pots adorned with hand-painted labels. The atmosphere was electric, with the sounds of vendors calling out to passers-by, the smell of baked goods wafting through the air, and the lively chatter of families and friends. "Look at our booth," one child exclaimed, eyes wide with excitement. "It's beautiful." As customers began to browse, Angela took a moment to reflect on how far they had come. This stand was more than just a sales opportunity, it was a celebration of their efforts and a testament to the community's resilience. Each plant represented not only growth in the garden but also growth in their relationships and shared mission. As the morning progressed, people began to stop by, curious about the young gardeners. Malik took the lead, proudly explaining their project and the importance of sustainable gardening practices. He spoke with such passion that it drew in the crowd, sparking conversations about gardening techniques and the benefits of growing their own food. "Wow, these kids know their stuff," one woman remarked, impressed by Malik's knowledge. "I love how you're teaching the next generation." Angela felt a wave of emotion as she listened to Malik engage with the customers. He had transformed from a shy boy into a confident leader, demonstrating the power of community support and encouragement. The other kids chimed in, sharing stories about the plants they grew and the care that went into each one. The joy on their faces was contagious, and soon the stand was bustling with eager buyers. By midday, they had sold out of most of their seedlings, and the children reveled in their success. "This is incredible!" Malik exclaimed, his eyes shining with excitement. "We did it!" Angela joined in the celebration, her heart swelling with pride. "You all did an amazing job. This is just the beginning, we can keep this momentum going." As they wrapped up for the day, the group counted their earnings, a mix of disbelief and joy washing over them. With the funds raised, they could purchase more seeds, tools, and materials for upcoming projects. They also discussed potential community workshops, where they could teach others what they had learned, further solidifying their role as community leaders. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Angela gathered everyone for a reflection on the day's events. Today was a huge success, not just in sales but in building connections with our community. Let's think about how we can expand this idea and share our knowledge even further. Malik spoke up, his voice steady. "What if we organized gardening classes? We could invite people from the community to come learn with us." The group erupted in applause, each child excitedly sharing their thoughts on how to make it happen. Angela marveled at how they had blossomed, their voices rising with confidence and creativity. In the weeks that followed, they implemented Malik's idea, hosting free gardening workshops for families. The club became a hub of activity, filled with laughter, learning, and the shared joy of cultivating the earth. Each session drew more participants, strengthening the community ties and nurturing a love for gardening. As summer approached, the garden flourished, bursting with a bounty of vegetables and flowers. The once bare patches of soil were now filled with vibrant produce, the fruits of their labor evident in every corner. Angela often found herself reflecting on the journey they had undertaken, a path paved with challenges but illuminated by the power of unity. One evening, as she walked through the garden, she noticed Malik and a few other club members gathered around a table, sketching designs for their next project, a pollinator garden. They were enthusiastic about attracting bees and butterflies, recognizing the vital role they played in the ecosystem. "Angela, come look at this," Malik called, waving her over. "We want to create a garden space that encourages more wildlife and teaches others how important it is to protect these pollinators." Angela smiled, her heart swelling with pride at their initiative. "That's a fantastic idea, Malik. Let's gather some resources and start planning. We can even create signs to educate visitors about pollinators and why they matter." As they discussed their plans, Angela felt a renewed sense of purpose. The garden had become a living testament to their growth, a place where dreams took root, where community flourished, and where resilience blossomed in every corner. With the seeds of change firmly planted, Angela knew that the journey was far from over. The garden was not just a space for growing food, it was a sanctuary for dreams, a hub for education, and a canvas for creativity. Together, they were nurturing a legacy that would ripple through generations, ensuring that the spirit of community and connection thrived long after the last harvest. As summer settled in, the community garden became a vibrant hub of activity, alive with the laughter of children and the buzz of bees flitting among the blossoms. The Pollinator Garden Project, spearheaded by Malik and his friends, had taken shape, showcasing an array of colorful flowers designed to attract bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. The children had researched various plants, carefully selecting native species that would thrive in their environment while supporting local wildlife. One Saturday morning, Angela stood back and admired the handiwork. Bright sunflowers towered over delicate lavender, while zinnias and milkweed danced in the gentle breeze. The garden had transformed into a sanctuary, not only for the community but also for the creatures that played a vital role in the ecosystem. "Angela, come see!" Malik shouted, waving her over excitedly. He and a few other children crouched by the newly planted flowers, pointing to a cluster of busy bees. "Look at them. They're already here." Angela knelt beside them, a sense of wonder filling her heart. "This is amazing, Malik. You've created a welcoming space for them. And did you know that every time they visit these flowers, they help pollinate not just this garden but other plants in the area too?" The children's eyes widened, absorbing this new knowledge. Malik beamed with pride, and his enthusiasm was contagious. "We should create a guide for people to learn more about these pollinators and why they're so important," he suggested. "Absolutely," Angela replied. "Let's organize a workshop where we can teach others about the role of pollinators and how to create their own pollinator gardens. We can even make some fun crafts like bee hotels." In the weeks that followed, the garden thrived, and the workshops attracted families eager to learn. Angela watched as the children took on leadership roles, guiding others through the process of planting and caring for pollinator-friendly gardens. They crafted colorful signs that explained the significance of each flower, drawing in visitors and educating them on the importance of maintaining biodiversity. One sunny afternoon, as the children demonstrated how to build bee hotels, a local journalist stopped by, intrigued by the buzz of activity. She spoke with Angela, fascinated by the community's efforts to promote sustainability and environmental awareness. "This is incredible. It's like a little ecosystem right in the heart of the city," the journalist remarked, capturing photos of the children hard at work. Angela felt a swell of gratitude. "It's more than just a garden, it's a community project that empowers our youth to take action. They're learning valuable skills while making a difference." The journalist nodded, her interest piqued. "I'd love to feature your story in the local newspaper. It's inspiring to see young people leading the charge for environmental stewardship." With a burst of excitement, Angela agreed, knowing that sharing their story would further spread awareness and inspire others. When the article was published, it brought a wave of visitors to the garden. New families came to explore, eager to get involved in the projects and contribute to the vibrant community that had blossomed. As summer reached its peak, Angela hosted a garden party to celebrate the successes of the year. She envisioned an event that would bring everyone together, a day filled with games, food, and learning. The children were buzzing with ideas, from planting contests to art stations where they could paint flower pots. On the day of the event, the garden was transformed into a lively celebration. Colorful banners hung from the trees, and tables overflowed with fresh produce, homemade treats, and flowers. Families gathered, laughter ringing out as children dashed from one activity to another, their faces painted with joy. Malik took the stage, his confidence shining through as he addressed the crowd. Thank you all for coming. Today, we're celebrating not just our garden but our community. Each of you has played a part in making this space special. Let's keep growing together. The crowd erupted in applause, and Angela felt her heart swell with pride. This was the embodiment of their hard work. A celebration of community, resilience, and the joy of nurturing life. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the garden, families gathered around a long table filled with dishes made from the harvest. Stories were shared, laughter echoed, and the air was rich with the aroma of fresh herbs and ripe vegetables. Angela stood back, taking it all in. She had dreamed of creating a space that fostered connection, learning, and growth, and now it was a reality. The garden had become a testament to their journey, a living legacy of the power of community and the importance of nurturing the earth. Later that evening, as the stars twinkled above, Angela and the children gathered for a final reflection. They shared their favorite moments from the party, the successes of their projects, and the friendships they had formed. This is just the beginning, isn't it? Malik said, his voice full of hope. We have so much more to do. Angela smiled, nodding. Absolutely. Together, we can continue to inspire others, educate our community, and create positive change. The garden will always be a place where we can come together, learn, and grow. With their hearts full and spirits high, they made a pact to keep nurturing not just their garden but the connections they had forged. The seeds of resilience had taken root, and the blooms of hope filled their community, ensuring that the spirit of collaboration and growth would thrive for years to come. As autumn approached, the community garden shifted in hue, transforming into a tapestry of reds, oranges, and golds. The vibrant blooms of summer began to fade, giving way to the rich harvest that filled the air with the scent of ripened fruit and earthy vegetables. Angela and the children prepared for the change, eager to embrace the new season and the lessons it would bring. One crisp morning, Angela gathered the children for a meeting, their breath visible in the cool air. With fall here, it's time to think about our next steps. We've accomplished so much this summer, but we need to prepare for the winter months ahead. Malik raised his hand enthusiastically. Can we plant some winter crops? I heard about things like kale and carrots that can survive the cold. That's a fantastic idea, Malik. Winter crops can provide fresh produce even in the colder months, Angela replied, her heart swelling with pride. We'll also need to start planning for spring, maybe a seed-saving workshop so we can collect seeds from our best plants this year. The children nodded eagerly, their minds racing with possibilities. They spent the next few weeks harvesting the last of their summer crops, collecting seeds, and planting cold-resistant vegetables. The garden became a flurry of activity, with laughter echoing as they worked together, learning about sustainability and the importance of seasonality. As they planted, Angela shared stories of the past and how different cultures celebrated the harvest. Harvest festivals are a wonderful tradition where communities come together to give thanks for the bounty of the earth, she explained. Maybe we can create our own festival to celebrate all that we've accomplished. The idea sparked excitement among the children. They brainstormed ways to incorporate elements from various cultural harvest festivals, including music, food, and storytelling. We could have a potluck where everyone brings a dish made from their favorite garden produce, suggested Aisha, her eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. Yes. And we can create a community mural to showcase our garden journey, Malik added, already envisioning the colorful designs they could paint. The planning sessions buzzed with energy, and soon the date for the Harvest Festival was set. Angela worked closely with the children to reach out to families in the neighborhood, inviting them to celebrate the season with food, games, and art. On the day of the festival, the garden was alive with color and sound. Tables lined with pumpkins and gourds created a festive atmosphere, and the sweet aroma of baked goods wafted through the air. Children dashed between stations, some creating art, while others prepared a communal meal from the produce they had grown. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the garden, families gathered for the communal feast. Angela looked around, her heart swelling with gratitude. This was more than just a celebration of the harvest, it was a testament to their hard work, dedication, and the bonds they had forged. Malik stood at the forefront, ready to share his thoughts. Thank you all for being part of this amazing journey. This garden is a reflection of our teamwork and the friendships we've built. Let's keep this spirit alive, not just in our garden but in everything we do. The crowd erupted in applause, the sense of community palpable. As they shared stories and laughter over the meal, Angela felt the warmth of connection wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. The garden had become a safe haven, a place where they could nurture not just plants, but each other's dreams and aspirations. After the meal, the children led everyone in a circle, sharing their hopes for the upcoming winter and spring seasons. As each child spoke, Angela noticed the glimmers of leadership and vision blooming within them, a reflection of the growth they had experienced together. Later that evening, as the stars twinkled above, the families gathered around a small bonfire. They shared songs, traditional stories from their diverse backgrounds, and laughter that echoed into the night. Angela felt a sense of peace wash over her. The garden had not only provided food but had become a space for cultural exchange and shared experiences. As the festival wound down, Angela took a moment to reflect. She understood that the garden was more than just a collection of plants, it was a symbol of hope and resilience. In nurturing the land, they had nurtured one another, cultivating a community that could weather any storm. With the promise of winter ahead, Angela knew there would be challenges. But as she looked around at the joyful faces of the children and families gathered, she felt a deep sense of determination. Together, they had created something beautiful, and she was excited for the next chapter in their journey, a journey rooted in community, resilience, and the promise of new beginnings. As winter settled over the city, the once vibrant community garden transformed into a serene landscape dusted with snow. The bare branches of the trees sparkled like diamonds under the pale winter sun, and the ground lay blanketed, quiet and still. Angela watched as the world around her shifted, and although the garden lay dormant, the warmth of community life continued to thrive. Angela gathered the children inside the community center, where they huddled together, mugs of hot cocoa warming their hands. The room was filled with the smell of spices and baked goods, the cozy atmosphere a welcome contrast to the cold outside. Even though the garden is asleep for winter, it doesn't mean we can't keep our community spirit alive, Angela said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. We have so much to learn and do during these colder months. I can't wait for spring to plant more seeds. Malik exclaimed, his excitement contagious. Yes, but winter is a time for reflection and preparation too, Angela reminded them. Let's think about what we can do now to get ready for the spring. We could hold workshops to teach others how to preserve the harvest from the summer, canning, drying, and making jams. The children cheered, their faces bright with ideas. Over the next few weeks, they planned a series of workshops to share their knowledge and skills with the community. They decided to start with a canning workshop, using the fruits and vegetables they had harvested and stored over the summer. As they worked together, Angela taught them the art of preserving. The kitchen filled with laughter as they chopped, stirred, and sealed jars of vibrant produce. The children were amazed at how flavors could be locked away, allowing them to enjoy their garden's bounty long after the growing season had ended. Canning is like capturing a moment in time, Angela explained as she placed a jar of bright red tomato sauce on the shelf. We're preserving not just food, but our memories and experiences from the garden. With each workshop, word spread, and families from the neighborhood began to join in. They shared stories and recipes, creating bonds that stretched beyond the walls of the community center. As the days turned into weeks, Angela watched the children flourish in their roles as leaders and teachers, their confidence blooming alongside the anticipation for spring. One snowy afternoon, as they wrapped up another successful workshop, Angela received an unexpected visit from Mrs. Thompson, a longtime resident of the neighborhood. "I've heard about all the wonderful things happening here," she said, her eyes twinkling. "I want to help. I have some old gardening books and tools that could be useful for your workshops." "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. We'd love to have them," Angela replied, touched by the generosity. "We're hoping to create a library of resources for the community." Mrs. Thompson smiled, her warmth filling the room. "It's important to keep passing down knowledge, especially in a community like ours. I'd be happy to help organize a gardening club to keep everyone connected through the winter." The idea of a gardening club ignited a new spark among the children and families. They envisioned meetings filled with discussions about garden planning, seed sharing, and winter projects that would keep their spirits alive until spring arrived. They gathered around a large table, sketching out ideas for club activities, from creating bird feeders to designing winter gardens. As the weeks rolled on, the gardening club became a hub of creativity and collaboration. They experimented with growing microgreens indoors and started a small composting project to prepare for the spring planting. Families came together, sharing their challenges and triumphs, finding strength in their unity. One evening, Angela organized a special storytelling night where families could share tales from their cultures about winter traditions and celebrations. The room buzzed with anticipation as each family took turns sharing their stories, weaving a rich tapestry of heritage and history. Aisha's family shared a tale from their culture about the importance of family gatherings during winter, emphasizing the warmth of togetherness. Malik's family spoke of their traditions involving games and food that brought everyone together during the cold months. Each story was met with applause and laughter, the room alive with the spirit of community. As winter waned and the first signs of spring began to emerge, tiny buds on trees and early blooms peeking through the snow, Angela felt a sense of renewal within the community. The garden had laid dormant, but the seeds of connection and knowledge had taken root in the hearts of the families. One sunny afternoon, as they gathered to discuss their spring plans, Malik stood up and said, "I think we should have a planting day. Let's invite everyone to the garden to plant seeds together. It would be a great way to celebrate the new season." Angela beamed at the idea. "That's perfect, Malik. We can showcase everything we've learned this winter. It'll be a celebration of growth, both in our gardens and in our community." As they prepared for the planting day, the children eagerly gathered seeds, tools, and ideas, their excitement palpable. Angela looked around at the vibrant group of children and families, realizing that through the winter, they had cultivated more than just knowledge, they had fostered a deep sense of belonging and support. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden light over the snow-covered ground, Angela felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. Winter had been a time of reflection and learning, but the promise of spring was now on the horizon, and with it came the potential for new growth, renewed energy, and the continuation of their shared journey. The long-awaited day of planting arrived, and the community garden buzzed with excitement. Angela stood at the entrance, her heart swelling with pride as families began to arrive with children in tow, all eager to dig into the soil and sow the seeds of spring. Brightly colored banners hung from the trees, each adorned with messages of hope and growth, while the scent of freshly baked goods wafted through the air from a table set up for refreshments. Angela felt the warmth of the sun on her face, a symbol of the new beginnings that lay ahead. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we celebrate not only the beauty of our garden but the strength of our community," Angela called out, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. "Let's make this garden a place where we can all grow together." Malik, holding a bag of seeds in his hands, stepped forward. "I can't wait to plant these tomatoes. Who wants to help me?" His energy was infectious, drawing a group of children to him, ready to assist in the task. Angela smiled as she watched the families spread out across the garden, each group focused on their chosen plot. Some were digging holes, while others carefully placed seeds into the earth, their hands getting dirty but their faces beaming with joy. Laughter echoed around the garden, mingling with the chirping of birds and the gentle rustle of the trees. As the sun climbed higher, Angela wandered from group to group, offering guidance and sharing her knowledge. She stopped by a cluster of older residents who were reminiscing about the gardens of their youth, their stories filled with laughter and wisdom. "I remember when my mother taught me how to plant beans," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice filled with nostalgia. "We'd have races to see whose plants would grow taller first." "I want to have a race too," Aisha chimed in. "Let's see who can grow the tallest sunflowers." The idea sparked a flurry of excitement, and soon the garden was alive with friendly competition, each child planting their sunflowers with determination. Angela marveled at how the garden was becoming a space not just for planting, but for learning, sharing, and connecting. In the midst of the planting frenzy, a local artist named Carlos approached Angela. He had seen the community's work through social media and wanted to contribute. "I'd love to paint a mural on the community center's wall," he said, his eyes gleaming with inspiration. "Something that represents the diversity and spirit of our neighborhood." Angela's heart raced at the thought. That would be amazing. A mural would bring even more life to this space. "How about we invite everyone to contribute ideas for it?" Carlos nodded enthusiastically, and they quickly organized a brainstorming session for the mural design. As families gathered once more, ideas flowed freely. They discussed images of plants and flowers native to their cultures, symbols of unity, and words of encouragement in multiple languages. "Let's include the sunflowers," Malik suggested, raising his hand excitedly. "They'll represent our dreams growing together. And let's add the fruits and vegetables we love," Aisha added. "Each one can symbolize a different family in our community." As they crafted their vision, Angela felt a surge of gratitude for the vibrant tapestry of cultures woven into their neighborhood. The mural became more than just art, it was a powerful representation of their shared experiences, hopes, and dreams. The planting day drew to a close, and the garden was transformed. Rows of seeds now lay nestled in the earth, waiting for the warmth of the sun and the nourishing touch of rain. Families gathered around the refreshment table, enjoying homemade snacks and celebrating their collective efforts. "Today was amazing," Malik exclaimed, his face flushed with joy. "I can't wait to see our plants grow."